Saludos mi gente, ¿cómo están ustedes en este día de hoy? Y muy pronto comenzaremos con el programa de hoy. Con eso dicho mi gente, vamos a hablar de cosas que vienen para JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Vamos a subir un poquito el volumen a esto. Déjenme yo reducir un poco aquí. Entonces, para eliminar ese ruido adicional que está ahí, no se vuelvan locos. Con eso dicho mi gente, vienen muchas cosas sabrosas para nosotros. Vamos a hablar un poco de las cosas que vienen en estos días de esta semana. Y con eso dicho, viene la lucha libre Rise. Ya ustedes han visto esa serie aquí en JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Y viene ahora para mañana a las 7 de la noche, para que lo tengan en el calendario y vengan para acá a pasar un rato en lucha libre con su familia, porque estos son programas para toda la familia, para que lo disfruten. Y con eso dicho, ya ustedes saben que yo estaba fuera del aire por varias semanas. Cuento que habían problemas técnicos con equipos y ahora fue que llegamos. Estamos en el aire de nuevo. Espero que disfruten conmigo estos momentos. Y con eso dicho, vamos a continuar. También tenemos programado para esta semana otros programas. Déjenme yo buscar mi calendario aquí para yo sacar el evento de las cosas que vienen para donde ustedes. Ok, y aquí están subiendo mi calendario y no sé cómo están ustedes saben que pueden dejar sus comentarios aquí en Deporte, que eso hace que la comunidad no solamente se active, pero que también yo tenga una interacción con ustedes donde podamos disfrutar estos eventos junto a sus familiares, amistades, quieren pasar un día simplemente en el tipo de deporte que sea, fútbol, Latinoamérica, sea baloncesto, sea béisbol, que ya estamos entrando en la temporada de béisbol, tenis, okay. Todos esos deportes van a estar transmitiendo aquí, baloncesto para mujeres también, baloncesto de equipos de mujeres, baloncesto de equipos de hombres, obviamente, y todas esas cosas vienen aquí. Entonces vamos a hablar de lo que viene para el día de manejando muchas pantallas, mi gente. Entonces para abril 4 tenemos MMA, mi gente. Ya ustedes saben, MMA, eso es pleito con contacto, ¿verdad? Con guante de bajo extremo, ¿verdad? Y ya ustedes saben que MMA, eso es usando el pie, la mano, usando todo, ¿verdad? Y eso viene para acá en abril 4. Hoy vamos a estar presentando la lucha libre del torneo que se tomó lugar todos los años, ¿verdad? De PGF. Eso es lo que ustedes van a ver momentáneamente en aproximadamente 29 minutos. ¿Qué más les traigo yo a ustedes?
Seguimos en vivo.
Para esta semana.
No olvides suscribirte para no perderte ninguno
Les
de mis
traigo
eventos.
también.
Si eres fanático de los deportes, mi canal es el que debes seguir. Y recuerda avisarles a tus amigos.
Oh, sí, Wiffle. Vamos a ver Wiffle Ball, mi gente, que es un estilo de fútbol es diferente que el fútbol americano y que el fútbol Latinoamérica. Ustedes lo van a ver esto aquí. Yo lo voy a estar presentando por primera vez. Lo vamos a ver juntos y lo vamos a disfrutar juntos. Y entonces para el día 8 yo le traigo a ustedes viene otro evento como el de hoy, BGF de lucha libre, donde ustedes van a ver 20 partidos, 20. Este programa dura más o menos como 3 horas porque son muchos dependiendo del tiempo que dura. Con eso dicho, mi gente, viene para el día 8 otro evento igual que el de hoy. Y entonces tenemos este evento para el día 9, otro evento de lucha libre con RISE. Ya ustedes lo han visto aquí, ustedes pueden buscar en canales para ver otros episodios que han perdido anteriormente, para que más o menos. Ustedes saben muy bien que esto ha sido un cambio nuevo y que han visto 2 o 3 situaciones en las primeras grabaciones que en vivo, son eventos en vivo, se graban en vivo, no se pueden editar. Bueno, se pueden editar si yo bajo el video, lo edito y luego subo el video en otro momento, pero como estos son videos que están grabados en momentos reales, en tiempos reales, no se pueden editar. Pero sí, yo pienso en el futuro bajar ya lo que ya está pregrabado, bajarlo, editarlo y subirlo de una versión que tenga menos comerciales y también encima de eso menos tiempo de problemas técnicos y cosas así. Yo le pido por adelantado mucha disculpa si en cualquier momento pasa algo técnico que sucede en esta cosa, porque estamos hablando de una transmisión en vivo que se está transmitiendo a cientos de miles de personas. A veces las redes se caen, a veces el sistema de computadora que yo tengo puede también fallar, el internet que tengo puede fallar. Usted sabe, estoy en otro hospital, mi gente, y a veces se va la luz y cosas así. Usted sabe, le pido disculpas si esa cosa pasa, pero como quiera que sea, yo no dejo de trabajar. Okay. Con eso dicho, mi gente, vamos a pasar a la última que tengo preprogramada ya para el día 10 a las 8 de la noche, un evento de museo. Eso va a ser museo en vivo aquí, mi gente. Lo bueno es que usted viene y disfruta acciones que están sucediendo en tiempo real, viene y disfruta las luchas libres que son así como WWE, ¿verdad? En ese estilo de producción, ¿verdad? Como ya Veneno, tiempos de aquellos tiempos, ¿se acuerdan? Y recuerden que hoy aquí vamos a estar transmitiendo otro capítulo de la PGF en vivo. Y con eso lo voy a dejar aquí y regreso en 15 minutos a volver a repetir lo que acabé de repetir ahora mismo. Espero que disfruten. Déjenme ponerle un poquito la musiquita de lo que viene. Y saludo mi gente, como le prometí, de regreso para explicarles que vamos a estar comenzando como en 15 minutos este evento de día de hoy. Van a haber 20 peleas, eso es así mi gente, 20 peleas en esta lucha libre, limpia, que es real. Ya ustedes saben, eso es lo que van a estar vigilando en este día de hoy. Esta serie, ya yo creo que le quedan 2 semanas, esta y la otra. Vamos a estar transmitiendo también en la otra. Les voy a dar esas fechas en adelante. Denme un segundito aquí para yo buscar aquí las fechas de los eventos que van a estar tomando lugar aquí en JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Recuérdense de suscribirse, mi gente, para que le lleguen las notificaciones de estos eventos, porque miren, ya ahora ya comenzó la pelota. Vamos a estar transmitiendo la pelota por aquí. Vamos a estar transmitiendo la lucha libre, ¿okay? El estilo ya veneno. También vamos a estar transmitiendo la MMA por aquí también. Vamos a estar transmitiendo el fútbol Latinoamérica. Vamos a estar transmitiendo el fútbol norteamericano. Vamos a estar transmitiendo baloncesto de hombres y de mujeres también. Vamos a estar transmitiendo tenis. Vamos a estar transmitiendo deporte aquí, como pueden oír, de todo estilo, okay, con consistencia. Y recuérdense que estas grabaciones son en vivo y de vez en cuando pueden haber que hagan situaciones a donde hagan problemas técnicos. Recuérdense que estas transmisiones nada más no solamente soy yo que estoy transmitiendo aquí, sino también hay miles de otros que están también transmitiendo, y encima de eso tenemos miles y cientos de miles de personas mirando los eventos también, que todo eso está conectado por vía de red, ¿okay? Eso alguna vez se causa caída de la forma que se presenta el material, que puede ver como algunos se ponen lento, pueden poner rápido y cosas así. Esas son cositas que son técnicas que según estos eventos que son nuevos, porque esto es algo nuevo que ha lanzado ahora mismo YouTube, este programa, ¿verdad? Donde pueden compartir nosotros, los creadores, con ustedes el deporte. Entonces, todo se toma su tiempo en lo que se va organizando, se va estipulando cuáles van a ser las conexiones, cuánta gente va a estar conectada, y todo eso se toma un tiempecito en lo que eso todo se fija. Pero yo digo que de aquí a 3 a 6 meses ya esas cosas van a ser suavecitas y esos problemas se van a ir desapareciendo. Le pido que tengan mucha paciencia, porque esto es algo en vivo que no se retrocede para atrás, ni se edita en vivo, ni en tiempo vivo, ni nada así, ¿ok? Entonces, con eso, hablando de eso, vamos a hablar de los programas que vienen por aquí en JuanSabeloTodoDeportes en estos próximos días. El día 2 tenemos lucha libre a las 7 de la noche Eastern Standard Time, que eso es hora americana, ¿okay? Para aquellos que están aquí, como por ejemplo en la República Dominicana, Puerto Rico y cosas así, estamos hablando que esas son ya horas de 8 de la noche, ¿okay? Para aquellas personas que están en otras partes del mundo, recuérdense que la hora es EST, ¿okay? Ese es la hora a las 7 EST. Mientras que ustedes sepan eso, saben ya qué hora es en la hora suya. Puede ser que se hagan 3 horas de diferencia, 2 horas de diferencia, 1 hora de diferencia, 5 horas de diferencia. Ya ustedes saben lo que significa las 7 EST. Con eso dicho, vamos a tener el día 4 una pelea de MMA, mi gente. Va a haber un evento que dura como 2 horas, que comienza a las 8 de la noche, de nuevo la EST. Y entonces tenemos otro evento el día 6, que comienza a las 8:30, eso es abril 6, que cae un lunes, a las 8:30 de la noche, EST. Y entonces tenemos otro evento, mi gente, que toma lugar el día 8.
Seguimos en vivo.
Que esto es...
No olvides suscribirte para no perderte ninguno de mis eventos.
Segundito.
Si eres fanático de los deportes, mi canal es el que debes seguir.
La última semana de la lucha libre que vamos a estar hoy compartiendo juntos. Ahorita ya más o menos como en 10 minutos más. Y vamos a estar viendo ese evento el día 8 que cae el miércoles abril 8, ¿ok? A las 7 de la noche EST. Entonces también tenemos el día 9 otro evento de la lucha libre Rise aquí en JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Y ese va a tomar lugar a las 7 de la noche EST, abril 9, que cae un 9. Y entonces, por último, tenemos un evento para ser transmitido a las 8 de la noche EST, abril 10, okay, que cae viernes, abril 10 de este año, que es boxeo en vivo. Todas estas presentaciones no son grabadas, pregrabadas y después presentadas, sino se están siendo grabadas en este mismo instante. Con eso dicho, es importante que sepan que tenemos transmisiones en vivo en este canal semana atrás de semana tras de semana. Mientras que hagan eventos de deporte, aquí estaremos transmitiéndolo en vivo, donde usted viene a verlo totalmente gratis y a disfrutar con su anfitrión Juan Sabelo Todo. Con eso dicho, mi gente, vamos entonces a pasar a la musiquita del evento y yo me vuelvo a contar en 8 minutos cuando ya este evento va a estar comenzando. Ya recuérdense de suscribirse, dejar su comentario, dejarme saber de dónde ustedes me visitan, ¿ok? Para que así ustedes no se pierdan otros eventos como este y mucho mejor, ¿verdad? Y disfruten conmigo gozándosela en estos deportes. Lo quiero muchísimo. Recuerden que este deporte comienza en los próximos 8 minutos. Regreso. Gracias. Saludos mi gente, y esto va a estar comenzando muy pronto ya. Con eso dicho mi gente, en este evento de hoy vamos a tener 20 peleas que van a estar programadas para este día de hoy, y espero que ustedes disfruten así como lo voy a disfrutar yo también. Vamos a ver que esto está ya supuestamente está comenzando varios segundos, me imagino. Vamos a ver. Ya supuesto que comience en cualquier momentico, mi gente. Como le estaba diciendo, van a haber 20 peleas en este día de hoy, en este programa. Este programa se repite el día 8 de abril a la misma hora que hoy, donde sigue esta serie que es de 6 semanas. Creo que le faltan esta y la siguiente, y puede ser que falte otra vez. Yo me perdí. Yo creo que yo me perdí dos. Sí, la próxima semana ya es la última, que es la 6ª semana. Yo me perdí dos. Ustedes saben que yo estaba un poco ausente la última quincena, mi gente, que hubieron unos problemas de cambio de equipo y tuve que esperar que llegaran porque vienen de lejos. Entonces me llegaron, y así ya ustedes me ven por aquí en vivo transmitiendo de nuevo, y espero que no estén enojados conmigo por el tiempecito que yo he pasado desconectado de ustedes. Vamos a ver qué está pasando aquí. Está supuesto que ya esto comience. Vamos a dar aquí a refrescar a ver que tenemos lo mismo. Yo esperaba que ya estas cosas iban a estar resueltas para cuando yo comenzara a ver.
Risk means anything can happen. Sit back and relax and get ready for week number 5
Okay, ya
of
comenzó,
the
mi gente.
Professional Grappling Federation.
Vaya,
Hey
me
everybody, I'm
alegro.
TJ DeSantis alongside
Vamos
Jason
entonces
Anick,
a
and
subir un
tonight
poco esto.
might be the biggest night, even bigger than the playoffs, because we will crown a team champion and find out who is going to battle for that individual title next week, right
Lo
back
que están
here
hablando ahí
in
los locutores
Sin
son
City.
es
The
que
team
lo mismo que yo
standings,
estaba
it's been the
diciendo,
Kings
que
pretty
van a
much
haber 20
all season long,
20
and
peleas
they
en este día de
followed
hoy.
their leader, who still sits at the top of
Estamos
the
llegando
leaderboard
ya a
in
los
Jet
finales.
Oh, it's Jet Thompson's PGF world, and we are all just living in it. 58 points through 4 weeks, 18 points clear of the second place fighter, Kevin Buring. We'll see if Buring's Twisters can make any noise tonight. 26 points back in the team competition. We will name our team champion and settle in on that Elite 8 grapplers who will compete in next week's playoffs. Can't wait, as usual.
And there is more. We will elect new members to our PGF Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame. It's the Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame, as a matter of fact. And yeah, other proceedings can happen. It's my favorite night of the PGF season, and it's right about to start. But before we do that, let's take a look back at some of the action that took place last week right here at PGF World.
Oh my God, grappling.
Banana bread good.
Banana bread. Okay.
Look at this layout right here.
I love it. I'm sold on PGF.
You got our picture.
Como pueden ver, mi gente, estaban los locutores hablando sobre las cosas que están repasando ahora mismo. Cosas que pasaron la semana pasada durante este evento, que yo no lo solo pude presentar a ustedes. Ustedes se perdieron por culpa de fallo de equipo. Pero vamos a darle para adelante porque esto es en vivo, ¿saben cómo es? Entonces, en este día de hoy van a presentar los últimos 8 que van a quedar para la próxima semana, para abril 8 a esta misma hora, que sí va a estar siendo transmitido por aquí, por JuanSabeloTodoDeportes, mi gente, a que no se lo pierdan. Recuérdense de suscribirse para que no se pierdan otro capítulo o episodio como este evento que viene a nosotros una vez al año, ¿ok? A donde se determina.
We are back here live on the mat. It is the site of
en 6
PGF World,
semanas
week number 5, just about to get started. But before we can do that, we need to check in with the
suceden
4th member
durante
of our
esas 6
broadcast
semanas
team.
de
It is Alex Wendling.
Es un
standing by.
evento
Alex?
grandioso,
Thank you so
conocido
much,
en toda
TJ. We got
Estados
3
Unidos
kings in the
y en otras
playoffs
partes
so
del
far,
mundo.
but we also
Es
have 3
tremendo
twisters,
este evento.
1 Philly
Ustedes van
Phenom,
a estar
and 1
pasando hoy un
Wolverine.
momento
We obviously
agradable aquí
have
con
the
Juan
team
Sabelotodo,
finale on the line, but a lot of these
Deportes, y
guys
con
are
estos
thinking about the
amables
playoffs next
presentadores
week,
que
and
ustedes
standing
están viendo
with me right now is
Recuerden que
Sean
yo soy
Applegate.
bilingüe, te pueden
3 of
dejar
your
su
guys currently
mensaje en
sitting
español,
pretty
en
in the
inglés,
playoffs.
que
What's
yo
the
solo
energy
contesto
amongst the
igualito,
Alabama
okay?
Twisters right
So
now?
you guys know,
Well, I mean, the energy really hasn't shifted at all. We have a
write
great
in
group of
English
guys.
and
Everybody
Spanish.
gets along
For
really
those of
well on a
you who
personal
are
level,
tuning
and
in
like
are
we have 3
joining
guys in the
me,
playoffs, potentially
please
4
leave
after
in the
tonight. That's
commentaries
kind of our
where
big
you're
goal.
joining me from.
Yes, you guys get along so
where
well
you're-
that people
where
just
you're
be
watching
falling
at,
asleep on
so that I
sleeping
can
bags and
have
bean
at
bags
least a
at the house.
sense
Well, tell me about the
of
camaraderie. Have you
where
ever had an
you are
experience in a
world,
tournament
so that way
season
I
setting
can
like this
have
that
more
is
relevant
like the
information,
PGF?
right?
No, definitely not. I mean, there's no really other jiu-jitsu tournaments that
And
are like this
remember,
one,
I'm
and
here
we
live.
definitely don't cram
Con
a bunch
eso
of
dicho,
people in this
cambio
tight
otra
together.
vez al español, mi gente.
But the group of guys we have
Con eso
have all
dicho, ya
been great.
ustedes
Like, these are
saben,
people we can all be personal
aquí
friends
se
outside
pueden
of all
poner a
of this,
pasar
you know.
momentos,
I love it. I
sea
love to
en
see
la
it. And if
lengua
you
que
haven't
usted
seen the
quiera,
behind the scenes,
y
all
conmigo
these
aquí,
teams are
Juan
making behind the
Sabelotodo,
scenes footage. It's
presentándole
basically
estos
a
eventos que
24/7
son en
reality
vivo
TV show
y
for Jiu-Jitsu
totalmente
guys.
gratis.
Let's talk about some of the
Con eso
matchups that
dicho,
we're going to
déjame
see
yo
in
ponerle
the
los
first
presentadores.
block. We have Anthony Salisbury taking on Jaden Groner, who's currently in that top 8. What are you looking forward to? These are young stars on the rise, the next generation looking to make big statements.
I think, these are young guys, so these types of matches are going to get had over and over and over. They'll probably fight each other a million more times, but these are kind of the matches that push you when you're young like that. Like, one thing that you could hope as a young competitor is to have a guy like that can push you. Types of matches are going to get had over and over and over. No matter how it goes, they're both coming out more times.
And tell me about your vets. We have Elijah Carlton, Kevin Buring, putting up mad points for you guys. What have they been able to do when it comes from a training perspective, helping the other guys kind of game plan for what they need to get done?
Yeah, I mean, they've been integral, honestly. Like, we speak the same language, so it's easy. I can just say, hey, let's do this thing, guys, and they get it right away. And then the other guys
helping the other guys kind of game plan for what they need to get done.
I've had to go home and they've been integral, honestly. They kind of ran the training and stuff, so it's been easy having them here.
Well, we're very excited. The Twisters and Wolverines will be on the second half of the block, but we're starting off with the Las Vegas Kings versus the Philly Phenoms. I'm personally most excited for the Tui Magana versus Sean Melanson bout, but I want to hear from you guys. What are you guys most excited for in that block?
I mean, I'm excited for everything, Alex Wendling. I mean, this is the night where anything can happen, and, a lot needs to happen for these Alabama Twisters as we take a look at the team standings ahead of our 5th and final week of the regular season. The Kings have been on top, leading the way. Twisters behind. They are still mathematically in striking distance. We'll see if the Twisters can get it done. The Phenoms, they're in 3rd place, and, of course, rounding it out is the Colorado Wolverines, who have the chance to play spoiler, and they got a couple guys that are still very much in the mix for a playoff position. Jason Anik, tell me what to expect here, what our standings are looking like right now.
Well, these top 5 guys right now, I think there's a great chance all 5 of these fighters are going to end up in the playoff. When you look at Jet Thompson there with 58 points and you see the Phenoms with 64 as a team, it just blows my mind. Going to be fascinating to see what that bubble comes down to tonight. Jaden Groner had a huge week last week, 15 points, got him into that number 8 slot, so it can be done.
Absolutely, and it's going to be very interesting to see what that number 8 number is going to be, because these guys are on the bubble, and right now number 8 Jaden Groner occupies that spot at number 19, but who knows what that barrier for entry might end up at.
Yeah, I mean, hard to imagine Sean Melanson being on the outside looking in. I think he's going to score tonight, but ultimately I think for that 8th lead you're going to need to get up to 25, 26 points perhaps. We know Andrew Kalko with the dislocated elbow is not part of the equation now, but Cam Hurd at 15, Strauss at 14, Rayfield at 13, potentially some guys that if they have a night, and you see Squires and McCulley there at 10, but if you have a night, find some necks, you might find yourself in the playoff next week.
Absolutely. You mentioned Derek Rayfield, the man that goes by the moniker of Rodman. He had some Rodman moments to close out.
Entonces, aquí lo que ustedes están viendo en pantalla es las puntuaciones de los luchadores, lo que ellos han acumulado durante este evento, ¿ok? Hoy siendo la 5ª semana ya de este evento. Y recuérdese que la siguiente semana, el día 8 de abril, a esta hora, vamos a estar presentando las finales de este evento. No se lo pierdan, suscríbanse para que así no se pierdan cuando ya este evento esté en el aire. ¿Oyeron? Con eso dicho, mi gente, yo espero que ustedes la pasen aquí bien conmigo. Vamos a reducir un poco ese volumen de la parte de atrás, ¿verdad? Y espero que ustedes lo disfruten. Como ustedes pueden ver, esto es lucha libre oficial, la lucha libre original, mi gente. De ahí fue que salió la lucha libre del WWE, salieron todas esas luchas libres como Ya Veneno y toda esa lucha libre que ustedes conocen alrededor del globo. Para que ustedes sepan, esto fue donde comenzó la lucha libre. Lo que pasa es que recuérdense que ya cuando usted pasa a los niveles de WWE, ¿verdad? O pasa a Rise, que también son presentaciones que yo hago aquí en vivo. Ya ustedes están pasando a un programa que es un evento ya de una forma más comercial, ¿verdad? Aquí esta lucha libre es Jiu-Jitsu, ¿ok? Con una combinación de un estilo de pelea de lucha libre, ¿ok? Haciendo llaves que hacen que el otro se rindan. Y los puntos son basados en este estilo de evento. Con eso dicho, mi gente, vuelvo a pasarle a ustedes, los locutores. Recuerden que pueden dejar sus comentarios y dejarme saber de dónde ustedes me visitan y a dónde ustedes me están viendo, para yo así poder también compartir con ustedes aquí en la comunidad de JuanSabeloTodoDeportes, ¿ok? También tirarle su shout out a ustedes. Y como ustedes están viendo ahí, esas son ya manos que han pasado, ¿verdad? Y ustedes ven cómo es que se rinden aquí. Un estilo como si fuera MMA, ¿verdad? Combinado con lucha libre, ¿verdad? De la que nosotros estamos impuestos a ver, como WWE, que son las que miramos cuando la gente se tiran de la escalera, que se tiran de ring y caen a donde están los fanáticos y cosas. Es una combinación, pero no así tan exagerada, sino más real. Usted ve, como real. Esta gente están haciendo llaves que si a ustedes se la hacen en el mundo real, lo ponen a llorar como muchachito, o le rompen un brazo, un pie, una cosa. Esto es real, 100%, mi gente. Estos eventos son buenos verlos para que ustedes vean la lucha libre en su pureza, en la pureza del deporte, ¿verdad? De este tipo de pleito. Entonces, de Jiu-Jitsu, ¿verdad? Entonces, vamos con eso a pasarle a ustedes los locutores del programa.
Jet, darling. Jet! Oh, sorry.
Now, let me point out what an amazing match this is. And all of this is happening on a Dollamore map. It's happening on a Dollamore map. Well, by the way, so what Sean is doing is not real jiu-jitsu. The only reason this works because he has 200,000 plus followers. You know what I mean? It only works over 200,000 followers. Appreciate it, bro. Unexpected stuff happening, emotions running high, competitions getting tight, people getting crazy, good TV, but you know what? It's entertaining. This season is fucking crazy.
Yes. If you want to get in the mix yourself, you can do so. Jason Anik, you are an OG of the Fantasy Corner, which is non-existent.
We say PGF. It's everything you love about sports plus jiu-jitsu. Sports have fantasy leagues, as do we. So if you head over to fantasy.pgf.
Ya ustedes saben, mi gente, este deporte PGF, ok, mundial, es un evento que se toma todos los años, ok. Y es más o menos así de 6 semanas y 120 peleas dentro de esas 6 semanas, mi gente. Eso es lo que hace este evento grande, que son tantas las luchas, ¿verdad? Y tantas las peleas que hay, así una tras de la otra, que es un tremendo evento y se pasa un buen momento. Usted lo pasa aquí, tranquilo con su familia, disfrutando del programa, con los hijos preguntándole, ven acá, papi, mami, ¿qué es lo que están haciendo? ¿Y qué es lo que está pasando? Y ustedes cogen ese momento para interaccionar con sus hijos y cosas y pasar un buen momento. No solamente eso, viendo la pureza de este deporte en su pura pureza, mi gente, en su pureza. Aquí ustedes no van a ver mucho gente volando por encima de escaleras, ni tirándose de ring al suelo, que son cosas que hay que explicarle a los niños, ¿verdad? Cuando son cosas, eventos así, hay que explicarles que esas cosas no se pueden estar haciendo así, ¿verdad? Porque son gente profesionales que practican eso 24 horas al día, 365 días al año, ¿verdad? Que ya este evento son de lo que usted encuentra ya de verdad, lucha libre real, ¿verdad? Combinado con jiu-jitsu en las universidades, en los colegios y cosas así. Pero ya esto está a nivel ya avanzado, profesional. Eso es lo que la PGFE, ¿ok? Entonces, en este día de hoy, ustedes van a estar mirando este evento, ¿ok? Donde va a haber 20 peleas en este día de hoy. Ahí lo que ustedes están viendo ahora mismo, que se está presentando, mi gente, son las cosas que se pueden y no se pueden hacer, ¿ve? No se pueden agarrar a la gente para agarrar y que ahorcarlo para matarlo, ni nada de eso. Se pueden ahorcar, pero de una manera que es deportiva y aceptable en este programa de lucha libre, ok, real y limpia. Eso tiene esto que es una lucha libre limpia, ok, que ustedes no van a ver muchas loqueras, de las que son hechas para entretener a uno, porque usted sabe, son entretenimiento. Esta lucha libre no es como la de Ya Veneno. Ok, es más lucha libre de la que usted encuentra a nivel profesional, mundial, en el globo, en las universidades, en los colegios y cosas así. Con eso dicho, mi gente, en este programa de hoy van a haber 20 peleas, ok. Esta es la quinta semana de este evento que se hace en 6 semanas, todos los miércoles a esta misma hora que ustedes están viendo que yo estoy transmitiendo en vivo, ok. Ustedes ajustan sus relojes para el país suyo, ok. A las 7 tiempo EST, ok. Entonces ustedes ya saben cómo encontrar ese tiempo en su vecinidad, en su país y cosas de esa manera. Recuérdense de suscribirse, y no solamente suscribirse, sino también prender la campanita para que así ustedes, tengo aquí tengo a Cito, ok, a Cito mandando aquí un saludo. Vamos a contestarle, ¿verdad que sí, mi gente? Para que después no diga, pero yo te hablo y no me contesta. Saludos por ahí, no sé si me está oyendo, pero te estoy mirando ahí. Muchas gracias por tu visita. Cito, tú eres uno de los televidentes de este canal que siempre está presente. Te agradezco eso y te mando un saludo muy de corazón. ¡Sámelo, Cito! Dímelo, chicos. Con eso dicho, mi gente, vamos a pasarle a ustedes, a los locutores aquí, para que ustedes también disfruten un poco de los comentarios de ellos.
I received therapy 2 different times. And through the therapy, I've seen incredible improvements in chronic inflammation, in immune disorders that I've had my entire life. I've noticed differences in different joints, and specifically my left shoulder. I'm sure most grapplers or submission artists have dealt with the same thing. Through New Hope Regeneration Therapy, I've actually had that go away. Things that I had been told by regular doctors that I would have to go get surgery or there's no way around it, I've seen dramatic improvements, so much so that I brought my family into New Hope Regeneration. I encourage you to go to newhoperegeneration.com and get more information, get a consultation, and see how this can change your life. I'm Ricky Lundell, and I've been working with New Hope Regeneration.
Ustedes están viendo por ahí es un mensaje que es para personas que necesitan ayuda con ciertas cosas en su vida. Eso no, no estamos aquí para eso, ¿verdad? Estamos aquí para hablar aquí de lo que está moviéndose en este día de hoy con JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Recuérdense de suscribirse y prender la campanita, que es lo más importante, porque la campanita es la que le manda a ustedes los avisos de cuando los eventos están tomando lugar aquí en el canal. Con eso dicho, cuando ustedes entren aquí, ustedes pueden chatear conmigo en vivo, por aquí mismo por YouTube, ok. Nada más tienen que poner, cuando ustedes se entran al video, ustedes van a ver la sección a donde pueden dejar su comentario. Ustedes hacen y dejan su comentario. Y eso siempre lo pueden hacer mientras que ustedes están dentro de su canal de YouTube. Para aquellas personas que desconocen, cuando usted tiene una cuenta de Google, ¿verdad? Un correo electrónico, algo para su celular, ¿verdad? Que todo el mundo que tiene un celular tiene una, le dan un canal de YouTube que usted puede activarlo si quiere o no activarlo. Pero mientras usted esté dentro de su cuenta, usted va a poder ver la caja donde usted puede mandar texto. Si usted está viendo que no tiene una caja donde puede mandar chat, es porque usted no está logueado en su cuenta de Google. ¿Ok? Tiene que estar conectado a su cuenta de Google y viendo su canal de YouTube para usted poder transmitir en chat y como le digo, participar en los chats de estos eventos. Vamos a ver que vamos a pasar aquí que ya el referee va a comenzar para el primer pleito, mi gente.
Ready to get underway, and now we throw it to the voice of the PGF, Stephen Aiken.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday, week 5, and the end of the PGF 2026 regular season. We were ready to get this thing kicked off with our first match, and the first athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Make some noise for Austin, the Gumby Orande!
Here he is, Austin Orande. Had a phenomenal season so far. He sits tied for third place overall with 38 points, excuse me. But really just a kind of bit of an uneven week for him. Last week did have the break over Caleb Crump, lost to Buring to close out the night. He is locked into the playoffs, as he has said, and hopes to continue and have his team win the whole thing tonight.
Absolutely, the Kings on the hunt, and Orande will kick it off for week number 5. All right, time for his opponent to make the walk.
Y ahí, como ustedes pueden ver, ese que entró en el ring ahora mismo está posicionado en tercer lugar en esta temporada, ok, y ya está laqueado. En otras palabras, él va a participar en la última semana de este evento.
Face Joshua Squires. Was a good match and a draw. Gets Orande, Crump, and Buring tonight.
Till the tape, Austin Orande already firmly in the playoffs, 38 points for the Las Vegas King, and we'll see how Adam Frank matches up as he represents the Philadelphia Phenoms.
Twisters got to be rooting for Frank with every ounce of their beings.
Yeah, I mean, I think this first block is going to be very telling. The Twisters want to try to get into a position where they are threatening these Kings when they meet later tonight.
Already got a clock violation, guys.
I mean, that would be crazy.
Right out of the gate.
Yeah, as you can see, the clock there in the corner of your screen, that is pretty much the official clock. We have 8 ticks off our clock on the graphic there.
Entonces ya te salí comenzando este primer pleito del día de hoy.
Commissioner Brand McCaffrey taking over the shot clock as week 5 begins.
And I'm going to blame him for this official clock not working.
Yeah, anything to do with time is going to be on him tonight.
I mean, he moseys. Have you ever tried to walk anywhere with this man? I'm not a fast walker, but yeah. Hot ticket, hard ticket. You can't even buy a ticket to PGF. Beautiful people only. Very important people only in our secret location. And we got a pretty good amount of people here for our first match of the night.
Yeah, it's filled in real nicely here.
All right. Reset and restart.
Orande immediately trying to get underneath Frank here. He's already on an ankle
geez.
lock, and he might get this early. He's looking for an elbow, Genie.
Como ustedes pueden ver, el hombre está tratando de hacer una llave ahí. Ok. Está tratando de hacer una llave para terminar esto rápido. Pero para que ustedes entiendan un poco de lo que sucedió ahí cuando cuando el referee tiró el pito, ustedes vieron que estaba posicionado el de rojo con gris, ¿verdad? Y el otro entonces de verde con negro entra y se posiciona en la última posición que estaban cuando se le cantó el foul. Así que esto funciona. Se rindió aquí. Los rojos con gris ganaron ahí los bikinis. Mi gente, ahora mismo recuerden que él está posicionado en el número 3. Tiene garantizado que va a participar en el último evento de esta temporada. Y recuerden que en esta temporada han visto hasta ahora, con el día de hoy, 100 peleas van a ver cuando se termine el día de hoy. Con el evento de hoy. Han visto ya 80 peleas que ya han sido registradas, a donde en esas 80 peleas, este hombre que está vestido en rojo con gris ha quedado en tercer lugar y tiene la posición garantizada para participar en la última semana de este evento. Este evento, que ha sido de 6 semanas, va a tener, cuando se termine, 120 peleas completadas. 120 peleas en 6 semanas. Mi gente, esto es una cosa, ya te sabes, fuera de serie. Y en el día de hoy ustedes van a estar viendo 20 pleitos, así como el que acabaron de ver ahora.
So Cam Hurd, one of the franchise players for the Las Vegas Kings. Cam Hurd sits right now in 9th place. You could say 10th because Andrew Cockle sits at 9. 15 points for Cam Hurd. Groner sits in that 8th playoff slot with 19. So every match paramount for Hurd tonight. And shout out Hurd's daughter Penelope. Happy birthday, Penelope.
See if Cam Hurd can take home a big stoppage for his daughter watching on her birthday. Cam Hurd ready to go for the Kings here in Las Vegas. Back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Noah McCulley.
You know, for Noah McCulley, the season has gone a lot like the qualifier, sort of boom or bust. Went 6-4 in the season 9 qualifier. All 6 of his wins were finishes in under a minute. It's been sort of feast or famine here for him. Last week, couple losses to Thompson, and Groner did have that big break over Travis Hayden.
Tail the tape here. Cam Hurd has 15 points on his run. McCulley with 10. We'll see how these two match up as the Kings continue their opening round matchup in this first block against the Phenoms. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik.
Ahí para que ustedes sepan que los vikingos están ahora mismo en el primer bloque. Esto es por bloque. En el primer bloque, que vienen siendo las primeras peleas del día de hoy, ustedes van a estar viendo los vikingos peleando con el equipo que ustedes también los verde con negro. Y aquí el que está de rojo tiene 15 peleas ganadas y está posicionado número 9 en esta temporada de lucha libre Jiu-Jitsu, ¿ok? Con eso dicho, mi gente, podemos ver que los vikingos entran tratando de terminar todo rápido. Mire cómo está otra vez haciéndole una llave aquí al de polochecito verde con negro. Y como ustedes pueden ver, lo tiene bien agarrado ahí, lo tiene bien cogido. Recuerden que para ellos rendirse tienen que darle 3 veces o al mantel o a cualquier parte del cuerpo del enemigo o del contrante. Con eso dicho, mi gente, como ustedes pueden ver, esta gente son profesionales saliéndose de estas llaves, pero también implementándose estas llaves que no son algo sencillo ni fácil. Se toma prácticamente una vida de ensayo y practicando para poder lograr hacer estas cosas que son tan fuertes y duras, mi gente. Pueden ver que ahí está el pito del referee. Quedan 4 minutos con 30 segundos en el reloj. Como podemos como ustedes pueden ver. Ven acá. Ustedes tienen que estar diciendo, ven acá. ¿Y qué es lo que está pasando aquí? Para este tigre se le enganchó como un muchachito entre un pie. Así que comienza, mi gente. Y eso es preparando y alistando para hacer una llave de la que ustedes se rinden en medio segundo. So, esto es así, mi gente. Eso es rápido. Cuando echan esa llave que logran hacerla correctamente, usted va a ver que eso es rápido, que se termina el pleito. Mira, ay, no tienen una llavecita, no tienen una llave ahí. Ya ustedes saben, mira. Oigan, esa llave que ustedes están viendo que está echando en los pies, esas llaves son de bastante. Esa llave, hacen que esos hombres hasta griten a veces. Ya ustedes saben.
I mean, Chris Oliva was campaigning for it to be his half. But, all right,
and
so
Oliva's going to challenge, it looks
like.
Yeah.
3 minutos con 24 segundos.
I don't hate the call. I mean, it would come down, I think, to what the rule book says. In the Unified Rules in Mixed Martial Arts, it says any sort of audible reaction to a referee or to a submission, the referee is supposed to react and call that a verbal tap.
No
and
solamente
the commission,
integrar
obviously,
esas
they're
llaves,
talking to
pero
Chris Oliva,
salirse de
BMAC.
ellas.
If you're just joining us,
Encima
it
de
is
eso
running the
también
shot
tienen
clock
que
for our
tener,
first
ya
block
ustedes saben,
of the
un
night.
estilo de
But, you know,
respiración,
honestly, Chris Oliva,
profundo,
I don't hate the call. It comes down to what the language is and the rules. But if you're ever going to make an argument, I think this is a good argument to try to make.
Yeah, and this is the coach's job. You want your coach to advocate for you. You want him to go out there because this might come up later in the night, and it may be a more important position, and his conversation right now might sway the argument later in the game.
Without question.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell if Cam was verbally yelling because of pain or if it was out of frustration or...
I mean, he had his leg, you know, isolated. I don't know if the torque was necessarily there, but the last thing you really want to do is give the indicator to anyone that you're in physical pain because, like I said, ultimately it can elicit a stoppage. But, you know, we're at a time now, too, guys, where I think, Tim, you were talking about how maybe this plays a factor later in the night if the sort of same situation comes up. But, you know, these are the moments that make rules in the PGF. We're still very young in our, you know, inception, and I think we're going to figure out if this situation does cause a tap here at PGF.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the PGF has done a nice job. The jiu-jitsu comes first and then the rules come. You don't make the rules first and then make the sport. And so, you know, there's been adjustments, and sometimes the adjustments have to be dialed back, sometimes they have to be dialed tighter. Just depends on how the matches are going and what's going on.
I mean, BMAC can attest to this. We've been to many EBI rules meetings where I think they were making the rules that night.
Right. So what do you guys want the rules to be tonight?
Exactly. Well, look at Zoe, all dressed up for the final night of the regular season. It's like a dragon's tooth on his necklace. That's awesome.
I don't think I've seen Zoe in a suit. This is fantastic.
Well, he knows we're leveling up here at the PGF. So,
taking a look at the submission in question, the look brought to you by Dolomer. Tim, what's going on here?
Well, it's hard to see. It looks like McCauley might be on his ankle. And Cam, he looks okay right here, but see how he's kind of turning the heel back, and I think that's when Cam let the yelp out. But you can't see his mouth. His back is to us.
Right. And it was a big explosive movement by Cam, so maybe it was him just.
I think it's right
there. It is.
There.
Yeah.
It's right there. I think that looked painful to me.
I mean, they get to 50-50 position, and I start getting nervous, so everything looks painful here.
It's real hard to see literally you just see a Phenoms graphic.
To your point, TJ, it's got to be whatever's in the rule book.
Right, yeah. And, you know, they're taking a while to sort of, you know, talk this out, so maybe they're pulling up a manual.
BMAC being thrown into the fire as the official right out of the gate.
Immediately.
Lions looking on. They definitely want to say that was not a submission. Who's good at lip reading?
My guess would be the challenge has not been successful.
Yeah, you kind of read the face there of Chris Oliva, but going to get a clarification?
Challenge denied.
I mean, did he just chop Cam Hurd in the chest?
He did.
All right. We play on.
All right.
My guess will be something will be added to the rule book, or we'll figure that out for season 10.
It's the Cam Hurd rule.
Yeah.
I mean, if you heard it, it's a tap maybe moving forward. But tonight it was heard, on Hurd.
Y como pueden ver, ahí hubo una llamada. La llamada estuvo discutida.
Interesting to see how Cam moves around on his legs after that, if it really did.
Right.
Good point. Regresa el pleito.
See, McCauley's more aggressive, as is Cam now. These guys are both playing for it.
I mean, both of these gentlemen need points, but something to think about. The guys that are locked up in a position for the playoffs, they might, tap a little bit quicker just to make sure nothing goes snap, crackle, pop before next week.
Well, that's a good point. And a lot of the guys, especially in the top 5, top 6, really, obviously anything can happen, but are somewhat locked in.
Right. But anything can happen. Groner lost his mind last week and jumped into the number 8 spot.
And has really made that bubble.
Cam's going to get a Kimura here. He's got it set up. Let's see if he can convert it. He's got to trap McCauley's head. The opts to take on the back, which isn't a bad decision.
Right. Oh, he's got to look here.
Huge for Cam Hurd to find 6.
Let's see if he can control McCauley's. McCauley likes to get his head alignment where he put the back of his head on the mat. Let's see if he can do that.
Recuérdese de suscribirse, prender la campanita para que así le lleguen los avisos. ¡Ay! Si le logra meter ese brazo debajo de la quijada, mi gente,
and you got feet and legs.
Si le llega a meter el brazo debajo de la quijada, esto se
termina. A readjustment here as the action.
Pero no se zafó el hombre.
Leaking off the mat a little bit too much into the splash zone.
Really almost feels like if Cam Hurd is going to find himself into the playoff, he has to capitalize
here. The thing, we talk about kills being worth 6, breaks worth 3. A lot of people are going to be hunting chokes, and they have to pass up some breaking opportunities to get to a kill situation if they want to keep their hopes alive.
Yeah, because on that bubble watch, Strauss and Rayfield are 14 and 13. If either of those guys has a good night, they could potentially jump into the spot as well.
Absolutely. You have a night like Jaden Groner last week, you are in business.
And that's what's exciting about the PGF. I mean, every athlete has 15 matches, and for a lot of them, they need each and every match to really secure that spot. And we talk about, not having the best start to a season. Even on night number 5, you can still find yourself in the mix.
Ahí como que le combino más verde con negro, ¿verdad que sí, mi gente?
Oh, he's got a nice little front headlock. Let's see if he can convert.
Ay, mi gente, esto se está por acabar.
Grip on this, but I can't see.
Queda 1 minuto con 40 segundos en el reloj.
Touch over 90 seconds remains for Cam Hurd to hunt for this kill. Nicely done by McCauley to continue to flow and be defensive, but Cam trying to get another look at it.
Yeah, Cam is hunting for that kill.
Ay. Oye, pero el de rojo tiene una fuerza de baja.
McCauley does pull into half. Nice. Cam still working on the choke, but
el precio es el cansancio.
I mean, 3 submission attempts, 3 real submission attempts here by Cam
Hurd.
Vamos a ver.
Kimura
earlier.
Queda 1 minuto con 7 segundos.
And, I mean, he knows what he needs to do. He needs to try to hunt that neck. He's got a minute to do so.
Big back here. Go belly down, big back. Belly down, big back.
Ooh.
That's tight.
Quedan 55 segundos.
Trying to lock up a Darce here. Let's see if he's got enough length. He might be able to hit a short Darce. Doing a good job defensively of just staying out of the kill angle.
And good coaching by Alivo. Coached him through that nicely.
Quedan 39 segundos en el reloj.
Go back into the legs.
And Cam is just hunting right now. He's hunting. He's hungry.
Oh, and now McCauley's on the hunt. Nicely done. Able to get it past the belt line. Look at McCauley, though, man.
Quedando 26
still
segundos
very much a threat despite being primarily on defense this entire match.
Yeah,
23.
Smart move by Cam to stand up, too. Just we're going up. We're not going to play the game.
17.
Final moments here.
11.
3 points are better than none. And
Ay. Casi lo entra en la llave.
Unable to do so. Time
5,
not on his
4,
side.
3, 2, 1.
That's a wrap. Nice little battle here. We saw
Se le zafó el hombre.
on the hunt. We thought we saw a tap we did not. And nice submission defense as well by McCulley, but a lot of action for us to appreciate, but no points for either of these athletes. And we're going to go ahead and make it official.
Esta confrontación
you know,
entre
Hurd
estos dos
really
hombres,
had an opportunity in
y
that
como
first
ustedes
minute
pueden ver,
to
nadie ganó
vault
aquí
himself
en este
into
deporte.
that 8 seed.
Cuando
Absolutely.
nadie
All right,
gana,
Stephen A. can
se
make it
van
official.
empate, se van empate. Nadie coge puntos, nadie coge puntos de ganar ahí.
And then that money bag on display there.
Sí
for
le dieron
Cam
un
Hurd. So you walk
regalito,
away completely
esa bolsita que
empty-handed.
ustedes ven con el
Money in the
signo
bank is
de
always a good
dinero,
thing, but we'll
de
see Cam
dólares.
Hurd. Later on tonight, he has 2 more
se la tiran
opportunities
ahí,
to put himself
como un
in the
regalito
mix. And
por
Tim
algo
Freeman,
que haga
I mean,
hecho
you want to
que
pick
le
somebody
gustó
up in the air and
ahí a
put them down on the mat, you're going to get paid here in PGF.
Yeah, that's a nice way to do it, too. That's kind of what I used to do to my kids when they were little, and it was bedtime. It's like, I'm going to launch you into the bed. No money bags, though, for that, you know.
Let's look at the action brought to you by Dahlimer. Again, a lot of Cam Hurd offense here, and McCulley was just able to get out of some tough situations and then try to put Hurd in a tough situation, but he ends up going past the belt line, a reset. We go the distance. All right. Our final night of the regular season continues here in Las Vegas. We go back to Steven.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Make some noise for JJ Bowers.
Enter JJ Bowers. I am so happy this kid got a shot this season. Was a season 9 qualifier, right? The champion of the Las Vegas Henderson qualifier. Went 4-1 there. Really big chance for him to redeem himself. Went for $6,600 in the season 8 draft. A little bit of a disappointing season there. Just felt as though he was due to enter this season, and a nice opportunity to help the Kings sort of win this second championship in a row.
J.J. Bowers, highly motivated with some redemption on his mind. He gets the call, and now we wait for his opponent. Back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Kyle Chambers.
All right, well, if J.J. Bowers is going to score some points, he will be the first man ever to score points against Kyle Chambers. Just unbelievable that he is yet to be finished all time in the Professional Grappling Federation. Mostly draws for him this season. Did have the break over Anthony Salisbury. I believe a calf slicer. That was week 1. But ultimately, Kyle Chambers here to compete. And look at that, man. He knows how to dress, too.
Absolutely. Undefeated on the PGF mat and maybe undefeated on the fashion runway is Chambers. Ready to get underway. J.J. Bowers, Kyle Chambers, their first opportunities of the night. Chambers representing the Philly Phenoms, and Bowers representing the league-leading Las Vegas Kings. We are underway.
So Bowers in for Jared Faketa here. Kings had been perfectly healthy until this week 5.
You talk about the return for J.J. Bowers. He doesn't get the call to get off the bench until this 5th night. But you think about what he did just to get here. I always admire the athletes that are willing to go to a qualifier, that have been here before and aren't afraid to earn their way back on the PGF mat.
Yeah, and a great opportunity for him to maybe be a little bit of a backup quarterback this season and sort of watch and take it in. You even heard Jaden Groner benefit from being able to sort of take a step back week 2 when he was injured and watch. But J.J. Bowers, it's nice to be able to contribute to the team here. You know, he and C.J. Murdoch round out that practice squad. They got very close last season on the Tropic Thunders and maintain that good energy despite the Thunders having a rough season.
You talk about that good energy. I mean, sports, especially PGF, comes down to your mental ability to get past through, some tough times. And, for Bowers, I think he would probably tell you that the practices that Ricky Lundell and these Kings go through, he is better for having this experience, no matter what happens.
Looks like Chambers is good. If he can pull Bowers' arm in, Bowers' right arm in, he might be able to set up a triangle. Bowers is trying to stack. Chambers is a long guy to stack. He's long and heavy for that size. It's going to be difficult to get him stacked. Chambers could switch it off maybe to a shoulder attack, but he decides to go the other way.
We'll look at Chris Olivo, who is the coach of the Phenoms. His charge, Kyle Chambers, undefeated on this PGF mat. Tim, what is it about Chambers' game that makes him so hard to put away?
You know, he's good. He's very good defensively, even though he appears to always be attacking. He's very good defensively. He rarely gets caught in the leg entanglements that he engages in so much. Very solid defensive grappler. Hard dude to beat in the PGF. You can see Kyle's jumping on a rope right now. He might be looking to get a bite on that heel, and he does. We got a flag and a play on it.
Yeah, but I believe the flag was on Bowers, who's got some other things to worry about right now, more so than an inactivity flag.
We've seen him go belly down on the ankle several times. And if you look at the stats this season, I think ankle locks are way up there on the breaks. Tons of ankle locks this season.
I already feel like I'm seeing some maturity to Bowers' grappling game.
I was just going to say the same thing. Kyle Chambers is a tough man to have on your leg, and Bowers was able to navigate that as we approach the halfway point of the mat. And Chambers still trying to make something happen with that left leg of Bowers.
Chambers with 4 points overall with that one break and the block point. So going to be tough for him to find his way into next week's playoffs.
Yeah, he's going to have to go off like he's going to have to pull a groaner basically.
And while the Phenoms are largely out of that team championship picture, Chambers is still a good draft pick, a good guy that you want to have to maybe just avoid the other teams getting points on the board. But, you know, obviously that is not a role for him tonight. But I like Chambers here in this PGF format.
Yeah, I do. It's good in a format like this to have a guy that can go up against big point scorers and force them to put a 0 up on the board.
Going to be interesting to see as we look toward the second half of this block how aggressive the Twisters are in terms of the team competition, because a lot of those individuals have stakes in terms of their individual playoff seeding.
Without question.
You can see Kyle's trying to slide down a little lower with his grip. The challenge here is Kyle's so long and Bowers isn't. Right, so there's not a ton of leg to work with.
Good point.
You can see Kyle trying to make the adjustments, but so far he hasn't been able to get his arm down. He might be able to find this here.
Come on.
Oh, nicely done. And again, I think Bowers, while he's been defensive, Jason, this is a good performance for him.
I agree. He looks like a different fighter to me. He looks like a different competitor. And while last season for him it was just guns blazing, he looked emotional at times. Looks to be very sort of got his head on top of those shoulders square.
Ooh, nice look.
Here. Switched it to. That's the same setup he was playing earlier today, right in the start of the match. But he went right into the shoulder attack and converted to the leg. Let's see if he can get a finish here. JJ does a real nice job of clearing his knee.
JJ's been here every week supporting his teammates.
That's the mark of a great athlete, too. Great team player.
And I'll be honest with you guys, I actually thought Bowers would have ended up on a team instead of getting passed up into a bench position. I like his story, and I think, just even the way he's been dealing with this assignment, Kyle Chambers is a tough guy. He's been able to stay out of real danger, but now he's going to get a reset here.
And he came back up. That was nice. And Kyle right back. Now he's going to go with He might this
short time. That would be crazy. Bowers but now he finds himself in a deep submission. Now switching over to the triangle.
8 seconds.
So close to making it.
I think Bowers is too tough. He's going to hold out. Just a little too late.
Good match.
Nice job.
Well, we talked about the heart that was on display last season by Bowers in a tough situation. He finds himself on the mat tonight in the starting lineup. He was in a tough spot, but heart got him through. Stephen A. can make it official.
que él no se zafe.
Great matchup here between Kyle Chambers and J.J. Bowers. And Jason, I think that's a good performance. Maybe not the win that J.J. Bowers would have wanted to have in his return, but he did show a lot of his game. Let's take a look at some of the action here. Tim Freeman, walk us through.
So Kyle did a nice job of staying on the legs, but he did mix up the attacks tonight from his closed guard, move to the legs. Bowers did a great job of just slipping out. Finally, near the end of the match, Chambers catches that triangle that he's been hunting, but just not enough time. Bowers is a supremely tough kid. He's not going to tap to something. Not like that with just a few seconds left.
That was brought to you by Dolomer. All right, a high-stakes matchup for one Philly phenom as Derek Rayfield tries to march his way to the playoffs, but he's going to run into the league leader in Jet Thompson. It's going down right now. Let's get to Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Make some noise for Jet Thompson.
Running out of things to say about Jet Thompson, just pacing the field. Such an explosive athlete, so fun to watch compete. You know, we talk about breaks and kills. Most dudes find and finishes through breaks, not Jet Thompson. If he gets on your back, best of luck. Just an honor to be able to watch this kid compete.
Yeah, it might be the best of both worlds with Jet Thompson. He might get the kill and break your teeth while doing it. See what he can do tonight at week number 5. All right, back to Steven.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Derek Rodman Rayfield.
All right, so here is Derek Rayfield. He sits at 13 points, 6 points out from that postseason 8 slot. Probably glad Cam Hurd didn't put points on the board there. He is anxious to rematch Jet Thompson. Derek Rayfield had an up-and-down season so far, still has a shot here. Tough first opponent here for Rodman.
Look at the tail of the tape. 58 points for Jet Thompson as he sits atop the leaderboard. Rayfield on the bubble with 13. What a matchup this is. Feels like a main event in our first block of the night.
Ahí, de los Kings,
Rayfield's all smiles right now. All smiles. He just flashed a grin over at B-Mac, who's running
it always starts that way. He's very much a different guy on and off the mat.
Love the passion. That's a good point. I love the passion. And he's really rounding into form, right? He hasn't lost since week 2. So, incredible matchup here.
Parece que
and I think Rayfield is sort of the prime example of, draws feel like losses. Yeah, you haven't been stopped, but you don't really get anything for it. And at this point, you need everything. You need to be wise here against a guy like Jet Thompson.
Yeah, Jet plays this game so well. He's sliding in on the arm. Rayfield's going to stand up with him.
Si el hombre se le montó atrás, se acabó. El hombre, cuando se le sube atrás al otro, eso es de una vez una llave letal que lo hace sentirse una vez.
And I'm okay with that because if this was combat, he would have spiked him.
Oh, yeah.
And it would have broken up the most likely.
That would have been illegal as well,
but that would have been a bad spike.
I mean, it's whether or not they call it. You got right for it, right?
You know, Jet Thompson's only lost one time in the PGF, and for Rayfield to need points and have this dude show up first this week.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned that. Sole loss for Jet Thompson. It came in the season finale. It was a championship match. He came up short to Andy Varela.
Yeah. Season 6, right?
Yeah. And really, Jet Thompson has been a star ever since. And he came out, after the last time we saw him last season, it was a slow start for Jet, but there's been nothing slowing him here, and Derek Rayfield trying to make something happen.
Doesn't quite have Jet. Jet's totally comfortable here, by the way. He likes these kinds of positions. He smiles. He never grimaces. He smiles when he gets out. And Jet goes to mount. You don't want Jet on your back. Anything under your nose is legal choking territory for this kid.
Con 5 segundos en el reloj, mi gente. Ya eso es buscándole la vuelta.
2 minutes down here in this
voltear.
match.
Si lo
Thompson in
volteó,
full
se
mount.
acabó.
We think about the team competition right now. The Kings have a 30-point lead over the Alabama Twisters. While we think that seems somewhat insurmountable, keeping Jet Thompson off the scoreboard would be one step in the right direction.
Oh, I mean, right now, Derek Rayfield might as well have
este
a
hombre tiene
Alabama
que tener
Twisters
una
patch
fuerza,
on his
como
shoulders.
dicen en Latinoamérica, de burro. Es verdad. Porque vencer y tener tantos puntos así, eso es una fuerza, ya te sabes.
Right arm.
Ellos
If he
es fuerza
can, he
natural,
might be able
mi gente.
to
Hay
work
gente que
that
nace
up and
con
do a
una
head
fuerza
knock.
que él que
He'll
ya
doing a
ustedes
good job
saben.
of keeping the elbows
Que
in.
cuando lo
Rayfield's
agarran,
got
lo
real
abrazan,
sneaky
ustedes
jiu-jitsu
quisieran que lo
too. He's
soltaran
got
rápido.
all kinds of weird attacks that he'll pull off.
I mean, the double buggy is all
pretty
time.
wild. Jet is just seems like those types of attacks don't face him.
And Jet's a guy who makes you feel, you know, even if you do survive, you're going to have to go through hell. But as you mentioned, Rayfield is a guy that kind of throws really unorthodox situations, you know, just out from nowhere. And, I mean, obviously doesn't want to be on the bottom of this Jet Thompson mount, but if anybody can find an answer, it is Derek Rayfield.
Thompson's offense is just so, he almost provides his own defense with his offense.
Yeah.
It's like either
Right.
where are the holes in the game to attack as his opponent?
Yeah, absolutely. You can see Rayfield has tried this a few times. He's tried to weave his right leg in and over and around Thompson's left leg, but he hasn't had success. And TJ, you just pointed out, Jet's getting a little chinny.
Yeah.
Right? Just a little chinny. Jet's really good at using his face. Your head is the thumb of your body, basically, and Jet's pretty good about putting it on people.
Yeah, and not only that, he was covering the mouth, trying to interrupt the breathing. Just even if you're in a quote-unquote okay spot, which bottom mount is not an okay spot, really, he just makes you feel it, and it's not a fun situation.
Oh, and Jet almost worked that arm up. Rayfield managed right at the last second. Oh, that's a nice move by Rayfield.
Nicely done.
Pulled it off.
Phenomenal stuff here by Derek Rayfield, and, you know.
Jet loves this kind of jiu-jitsu. We've already seen this out of Jet. He loves the face smother. He loves it. He welcomes it.
And he just drags you down in the mud. All right, now they're just doing weird things, rubbing their heads together, making each other feel. Ooh.
The last time Jet pulled into this position, he didn't pull guard. He actually swept Rayfield backward.
Ana, que me estuvo escribiendo por WhatsApp.
Nice job from Rayfield. Let's see if he can set up.
Manda saludos por aquí, JuanSabeloTodo. Espero que
Cannot set it up.
Que estén bien.
Yeah, able to pass here is Jet Thompson. Touch over a minute remains.
Entonces, mi gente, vamos a ver aquí, mi gente. Vamos a ver. Quedan en el reloj 59 segundos. Se está acabando rápido esto, mi gente, y por lo que estoy mirando,
again, you know, we talk about a draw feeling like a loss. It's tough to get points off of Jet Thompson, but Derek Rayfield makes his night much harder if he doesn't find something here in the next 45 seconds.
Rayfield's reaching with his hand. He's going to try to get Thompson's arm out, and he might do it. Now he's got it triangled. Look at this. He's come up. And Jet squirts out.
Pero por un segundo yo pensé que iba a perder esta mano el hombre. Tenemos 24
he's a magician.
He really is.
He really is.
20.
I mean, he's a guy that has baited people just to pass the side because he's dangerous from bottom side.
11.
These two fighters, you know, big parts of the present and future of the PGF.
5, 3,
points.
2. Se terminó esto, quedó empate, mi gente.
Really a fun matchup between these two bright stars.
No lo pudo vencer al hombre, te intentó, no fue por esfuerzo.
Absolutely.
Ahí no faltó.
Fans appreciative of what they saw over the course of 6 minutes, as are we. We go to Stephen Aiken to make it official.
After 6 minutes, this match finishes with a draw.
Nice sign of respect between two stars of this PGF mat. Speaking of the mats, they're brought to us by Dolomer, as is this look at the action. Tim Freeman to walk us through.
Well, this is something you don't see every day in jiu-jitsu. I was really worried when Rayfield actually elevated Thompson up that he was going to drop him, right? But he gave the nice flex, and he was good. We saw a lot of crazy transitions in this match out of Rayfield. Look at this. He ties him up with his leg, comes up on top. looks like he almost was going to try to set up some kind of
Estuvo
crucifix that Thompson
interesante
squirts
por
out.
varias ocasiones. Yo pensé que
These are
él
two
iba a dar
guys
un
that look like
fin
they've
a
been
eso.
wrestling with their
Y
brothers
vamos
their
a
whole life,
pasar
because that's
al
the kind of
locutor,
stuff
mi
you
gente.
do when you're 5 years old.
Right?
Absolutely. All right, time for our next matchup. We go back to Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Give it up for Chewy El Chupacabra Magana.
You know, Tim, you referred to Chewy as the MVP, and while Jet Thompson is on his team, it's hard to disagree with you. Chewy went for only $1,000 in the draft, has 31 points on the board, sits firmly in that number 5 spot. I think he's a slam dunk to make the postseason and hopes to continue to contribute to this team winning this team championship tonight.
Chewy Magana back at it. What a storybook run it's been for him this season at PGF. Came up through a qualifier and has definitely earned his spot on this Las Vegas Kings team. His final night of the regular season is just about to get underway. All right, back to Steven.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Sean Melanson.
Sean Melanson been a big highlight this season. He is looking in at the postseason, currently in the number 7 slot with 27 points. So Chewy has 7 more points than Melanson. So big spot here for Melanson to maybe move up in the seeding. Great matchup here. Going to be interested to see how Melanson handles this challenge.
All right, it is the Kings, Chewy Magana, the Phenoms, Sean Melanson. As you mentioned, Melanson would love to just lock that playoff position in, and does try to do that here against Chewy Magana. Magana, again, a breakout star of the season of PGF. I didn't like the fact that he thought I was Stephen Aiken after last week's matches, but I'll let it slide.
En esta serie de este deporte en este año. Y recuérdense que estamos mirando ya el último evento.
Of course, Magana coming off that break of Elijah Carlton, a big upset. Tim, what were your thoughts on that? Because, I mean, it was definitely impressive to do it against Carlton, but he's a guy where you just cannot afford to let him get into an attacking position on your legs.
Chewy's one of these guys that no matter how much trouble he seems like he's in a match, he finds a way to come out on top. It's really discouraging when you're fighting a guy like that and you do all your best stuff and your best stuff doesn't work and they're still putting you in there. 6-0 PGF though. But if you look at their common opponents that they both fought, Magana has a better record. He has more wins than Melanson, but we can see Melanson's already on mount. We've seen Chewy in these bad spots though. Many of his matches he's been in tight spots.
Yeah, I mean, and he's also a guy that has been pushed around a lot. But no matter what you put on Chewy Magana, if it comes in the first 5 seconds where he gets a look at your leg, or the final 5 seconds, he's very dangerous. But he has gone through a lot of hell to come back and strike, and Melanson's trying to put it on him here early.
And he just, Magana does a great job hooking legs in funky positions and finding himself sort of switching from defense to offense. You know, speaking of defense, you know, the Alabama Twisters, if they can get through this block with the Kings having only put up 4 points, you might think that may be their only shot with them facing the Wolverines.
Chewy got right on an attack. We heard the commissioner throw out the shot clock warning, and Chewy got after. All of Chewy's subs are leg locks.
Did you hear the crowd start to get antsy when Chewy looked? I mean, it's crazy. He just gets the slightest look at your legs, and people start to get excited.
You know, we saw season 6 birth Jet Thompson as a star, and I believe we see season 9 do the same for Chewy Magana.
Oh, without question.
En este deporte que es en los pies, mi gente, especialmente por vía de las canillas, man.
You know, a lot of credit should be thrown the way of Sean Melanson, who had a variety of things to say about PGF, but over the season, we've really seen him adapt his jiu-jitsu game to fit this format, because if you haven't done this format before, PGF, it will make you change the way you roll.
I'll tell you right now, and if Sean Melanson stays locked in that number 7 seed, right, that's a tough draw. You know, if you're Kevin Buring in that 2 seed, you get Melanson coming at you in round 1.
Yeah, that's a good point. You're going to be looking at Buring or Orende, one of those top-level guys.
Right.
not easy to beat.
Mientras que el
And,
de
you know,
Verde
getting back to what you asked
tiene
earlier,
pocas
Magana
Tiene
TJ
0
beating
manos perdidas,
Carlton,
pero tiene 6
it was
victorias,
kind of
6
shocking.
peleas que
Carlton's very difficult to beat. He's got,
Puede
if you
hacer
look
que
at his
no tenga la
PGA
misma
stats,
experiencia que el
PGF, sorry,
rojo de los vikingos.
it's mind-blowing how well he's done in the PGF,
Pero
but it
tiene
just
una
goes to
táctica
show you how dangerous
súper buena.
Chewy is when he's on the match, regardless of how much time is on the clock. We saw it against Sam Schwarzenfeld. There was only 7 seconds on the clock when he finished that match.
Yeah, we talk about this run for Chewy, who's on bottom out of Melanson. You know, he had already broken out as a star, but I think the Carlton win was the stamp that really solidified it. Yes, he's had some great wins, but he had a breakout, standout, career-type win, and now he's hunting another. Nicely done by Melanson.
The crowd did get worked up. Like, literally, every time he grabs a foot.
Right. You know, Melanson jokes with us because we've been calling him strong all season, but it really is a theme for a reason, because others would have been perhaps compromised there.
No está fácil de pelear. Con eso dicho, mi gente, les quiero acordar que se suscriban para que así no se pierdan un evento así como este.
Chewy's got good wrestling, too. We saw a great blast double against Kyle Chambers a couple weeks back.
De los dos latinos y americanos. Estamos hablando de tenis.
Chewy takes a seat. 90 seconds remain in the match.
Estamos hablando de boxeo, todo esas presentaciones.
Melanson's going to try to duck under and pass to the opposite side.
Yeah, Sean looks acutely aware of the problems Magana presents if he grabs a hold of the leg.
That's 3 or 4 guard passes in this match for Melanson. He hasn't been able to convert into a strong sub attempt.
We talk about Chewy not having much of a neck. Physically, Chewy's a bit of a problem. You know, ultimately, not the easiest guy to maneuver around that.
Neither is Melanson, though, right? This is basically 2 guys that are all traps and laps, basically. He's got a little bit of a butcher on Chewy. Could be hard to finish somebody here, but you definitely can cook someone in this pocket. Let's see if Melanson get his hands locked. It's a hard choke to finish, but definitely a pressure cooker position. Ooh. Oh, you got a nice little row drag. Let's see if he can convert to the step around.
Slick escape by Magana.
And that's one of Sean's go-to subs. He hit that earlier in the season.
Closing moments here.
Get the feeling the Kings are playing tough, but playing a little safe.
Nicely done by both gentlemen. Chewy and Magana able to stay away from giving any points to the Phenoms or Sean Melanson. We will make it official this evening.
So the door slightly ajar for the Alabama Twisters in the 2026 PGF season. Really going to be interesting to see what their approach is.
Taking a look at some of the action here from that match. Tim Freeman, your thoughts?
Well, you can see most of the match, Sean was in control. He was passing. I know we're seeing Chewy's highlights. He had a couple attempts on the legs, but this match was mostly Melanson in control of the match. He had a few sub attempts, but neither athlete really had a deep look at getting a win.
All right, that rounds out the first matchup here of block number 1. Of course, it all leads to our playoffs next week. Who is in, who is out? We will have a final answer before night's end.
And you see the Elite 8 on your screen there. I think it's going to be difficult for one of those gentlemen to be to lose their spot, if you will. Some favorable matchups potentially for Jaden Groner, who's in that 8th slot.
Tonight we will crown a team champion, and points will be needed by these Alabama Twisters if they hope to close the gap between themselves and the Kings. They get the opportunity to do so now in the first team matchup against the 4th place Colorado Wolverines. All right, let's get to the action here. Actually, let's take a look at some of the action. Tim Freeman, your thoughts on our matchups here between the Twisters and Wolverines?
So, obviously the Twisters need big scores to catch up with the Kings if they're going to have a chance chance. This is a block when they could potentially put some points on the board. Buring's got a great shot against Moyer. Carlton's got a great chance against Crump. Strauss has a couple things going for him. One is he's still in the bubble.
Yep.
He's got 14 points. Hurd wasn't able to convert earlier. Rayfield wasn't able to make points on the board, so he's got a chance against Schwartzwald. Let's see if Groner can keep his going off night going, right? In week 5, going up against Salisbury, and then that last matchup we were looking at was Travis Hayden and is Officer Grimy in? Is Jonathan Wilson or something?
No, Joshua Squires in there.
Oh, it's Squires is filling in. So, you know, the Twisters have a chance to put some points up on the board. We know that they're going to have to face the Kings eventually. They need to really get as much as they can before that happens.
All right, the time is now for the Twisters to strike. Let's go to Stephen A.
We're ready for our next team matchup. The first athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Kevin Buring.
So here is Kevin Buring. We will see him against Jet Thompson later tonight. This is the number 2 seed. Thompson, obviously, the number 1 seed. It'll be interesting to see how Buring plays this evening. He's got 40 points. He's a complete lock for the postseason. Seeding may come into play here, but if he's looking out for the Twisters solely, he will solely be looking for chokes here.
Absolutely. Elijah Carlton is the biggest name, if you will, on this Twisters team. But Kevin Buring is the man that Elijah said is the real team leader. And tonight he gets the call for the first opportunity to get points in the bank for this Alabama squad. All right, back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Bulletproof Brett Moyer.
So here's Bulletproof Brett Moyer. Moyer was sort of keeping the Wolverines' head above water early on in the season. Was sort of active, had good energy about him. Did have to sit out last week with sort of a late scratch after a couple quick elbow GD finishes at the expense of Melanson and Orenday at the end of week 3. But back in here week 5.
Here's the tail of the tape. Kevin Buring, 40 points on the board, a lock for the playoffs. Brett Moyer trying to play spoiler tonight when it comes to the team standings. We'll see what will happen here. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman, live here in Las Vegas. It is week 5 of the Professional Grappling Federation.
And even a guy like Brett Moyer with 6 points on the board, find a neck within a minute and things could look different. So still opportunities for the guys on the outside looking in.
Es el favorito en este pleito de hoy. No solamente eso, también lo vamos a estar mirando a él peleando con Jarrett, contra Jarrett, el número 1 ahora mismo que está.
And Kevin is a guy that is a veteran of multiple seasons, kind of, you know, one of those athletes that were there before the big leveling up and coming out to Las Vegas, and he's done well on every stage of the PGF that he's been in, and this year, you know, really breaking out. As I mentioned, 40 points on the board.
Well, for those that have been watching the PGF, I mean, he made his debut season 3 in 2022.
And he's already on the heel. He's got a devastating outside heel. Let's see if he can get this. He's deep on it.
Moyer trying to.
He's deep. I would not want to get into a shootout with Buring.
Oh, big reaction there.
Yeah, man, I think it's close.
I mean,
you saw the flutter hand.
Yes.
Yeah. And
we saw a challenge earlier against Cam Hurts, perhaps.
Oh, man.
Moyer's got an ankle lock of his own. Buring's still on the leg here. This is the challenge for Moyer, is that Moyer doesn't have a knee line. Buring does. Buring just can't find an angle. He opts to come up to the top. Not a bad decision. You change up the attack a little bit, and then maybe you go back to the legs.
Yeah, he's got many ways to win.
Gonna get a reset here.
We've seen Moyer in some pretty detailed leg lock exchanges this season. Like he hangs tough in those positions.
Let's not forget Brett Moyer, the first man to put points on the board for the Colorado Wolverines. So he occupies a spot in the history books. And while it's been a tough season, I think, for these Wolverines, you know, from a team standpoint, now Kevin attacking again.
Right back into it.
From a team standpoint, they've really kept spirits high.
Bueno, vamos a ver.
Now making the adjustment again here is Buring.
Yeah, Kevin switches to the inside now. We know he's got it, and then he slides to the outside on the opposite foot. That's a crafty
en estas
move.
finales, que hoy en las finales, ¿ok? Para muchos de estos luchadores, porque recuérdense que ya el último evento simplemente...
Moyer's doing a nice job of throwing out sufficient counterattacks that Buring can't just 100% ignore the counterattack.
Para ser determinado a ver cuál va a ser el campeón, ¿verdad? De este año. Del año pasado fue Jerry.
Appreciate everybody joining us on Kick and on YouTube. The 5th and final week of the PGF regular season playoffs next week, same time.
Nice job. Buring uses that pass, the recovery on the pass to sit into the legs, and he's right back on the ankle this time.
But Brett Moyer living up to that nickname of bulletproof thus far. Not a lot of guys can really hang out with here. With Buring in these spots, and Moyer has not only been good defensively, he's had some offensive moments of his own.
Go ahead.
You're going to have to do that against a guy like Buring because you can't let him camp out on your feet all night. He will find the way to victory. Right back into the outside heel. Just can't quite get to the heel. Get the feeling if Buring could get a bite on this, he can get a finish. He's just having a little.
Oh, there it is. On demand. Kevin Buring getting 3 points for the Twisters. We've already talked about his playoff spot being locked up, but his team championship still up for grabs. Sean Applegate, Matt Elkins got to be proud of their boy. 3 points on the board. Kevin Buring getting it done. We'll make it official with Stephen A.
Your winner with a break, representing the Alabama Twisters, Kevin Buring.
Oh, wow.
Big win for the Alabama Twisters as Kevin Buring starts off their first matchup of this opening block with 3 points. Take a look at it. Tim Freeman walked us through.
So you can see Buring goes belly down to try to get a bite on that heel. And on that attempt, he was able to do it. A little bit of a challenge. Sometimes you get out of leg submissions a lot, and then you think they're not going to be able to touch you, and then they come back and they get you good.
Yeah, I mean, it's a game that you don't want to play for too long with Kevin Buring, because if he's got a hold of your leg, you are playing with fire, and it seems that eventually you might get burned. All right, time for our next matchup here in the second half of this first block. Back to Stephen A.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Elijah Carlton.
Speaking of making noise, I don't think Elijah Carlton is done making noise. Gets a nice greeting from Eddie Bravo on the way to the mat. So Carlton competed in his 100th PGF match last season, which is just a feat in and of itself. Did get that late break at the hands of Shui Magana late last week. Curious how he's going to bounce back from that. He's very much in the playoff mix, tied with that in that number 3 seed with Austin Arande. So Carlton definitely going to be competing next week. We'll see how aggressive he is in terms of the team competition for the Twisters here.
Been a great season for the newly improved Elijah Carlton, and we'll see what happens here in his first assignment of the night. Back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Caleb Crump.
All right, here's Caleb Crump making his first appearance of Week 5. He's been a stalwart for this Colorado Wolverines team, punching the clock every week. Did get a big kill over Armin Bruni back in Week 2, which was his first and only finish in the PGF format.
Take a look at the tail of the tape. Elijah Carlton with 38 points, and look at that record. 75 wins, only 5 losses. Crump with 1 win. It came this season. He's got 7 points. He would be in line to pull off a big upset here against Carlton. Should he get it done, we'll see what happens. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman, live here in a secret location. It is the site of PGF World.
And it's already getting late early for the Alabama Twisters, down 30 points, period. They got to make something happen right now if they're going to sniff the team championship.
For Carlton, you know, this is his first time, I believe, on the mat since that loss to Chui Magana. And You know, I think it's sort of understated with all the, opportunities you have through this season. No one ever wants to lose, especially like Carlton, who is a poster boy and has not done a lot of losing on this map. But losses are very forgivable in this format, and you just got to put it behind you.
No question about it. Sean Applegate was talking about how healthy can you remain while continuously winning. And especially tonight with some of these guys knowing what they're competing for next week.
Tim, I'm curious your thoughts on that Magana submission over Carlton. I had questioned whether or not, it was maybe a decision by Elijah. Now, Elijah going on the attack here.
Carlton's hands are just so strong. Snatching that ankle.
And he just missed the elbow, Genie, by about 5 seconds.
It looked like to me that he got a quick bite on the heel, and Crump was not going to play that game.
Well, Elijah's going, what does the guy got to do to get a money back? Well, it was a very valuable 3 points for him and the Twisters as they look to close the gap. Stephen Aiken, make it official.
Your winner with a break, representing the Alabama Twisters, Elijah Carlton.
Y el manguito bajito se llevó la ganancia. Oiga, el manguito bajito se la llevó. Eso no lo
Quick work for Elijah Carlton, but not quick enough for that extra point. Tim Freeman, walk us through.
Let's see what he gets here. I think he gets a bite. Let's see on that. Yeah, on Crump's right ankle. He doesn't even get both hands in on it, and Crump is already like, nah, man, I'm out.
I mean, that ankle of Crump was already taped up, and Elijah Carlton's not a guy you necessarily want to put some torque on an already injured limb, but wow, all right. Decent start here for these Twisters in their first block of the night. See if it can continue here in Las Vegas. We go back to Stephen A.
In English, okay?
Our next athlete making his way to the mat. Representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Jake Strauss.
Sport together with me here. And join me in
so here's Jake Strauss, who absolutely has a chance. 14 points, so he's sort of looking up right now, but only 5 points trailing that number 8 slot of Jaden Groner. Has Schwartzapfel here. Has certainly been the benefit of certain block points with the Twisters this season, but does have a couple wins of his own. Had a big break last week over Andrew Cockle with the dislocated elbow. A lot of varying opinions on that finish, but Strauss has been a great competitor here, and I don't think this will be his last season in the PGF.
All right, we'll see what Strauss can do as his night is officially underway in Las Vegas. Back to Steven.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Sam Schwartzapfel.
So here's the man, Sam Schwartzapfel. Not been the best season for Sam Schwartzapfel, but did really compete very well last week. Fought Buring, Hurd, and Rayfield. Took them all to draws. Had a lot of good moments. So certainly peaking, perhaps, right now. Should be a good physical matchup here between Strauss and Schwartzapfel.
14 points on the board for Strauss. He hopes to pick some more up here for his Twisters. Just 1 point for the Wolverine and Sam Schwartzapfel. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman. Appreciate you joining us here on week number 5 of PGF. Strauss taking a seat. They're trying to get it on a leg, but now Schwartzapfel able to get a headlock here, trying to maybe work something. I mean, Sam Schwartzapfel's not a guy you want to get a front headlock.
Definitely not. You don't want to be there. And we've seen Sam get some really good attacks off this season. Just hasn't been able to convert on the attacks. It's been kind of a hard luck season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, talking to Sam, he's kept spirits high. It's been, a tough road for him here and a tough road for these Wolverines. But, Sam's a guy that's going to come on his A game each and every night and put the pressure on.
De esta competencia de este año que se termina ahora en la siguiente semana,
classic el día 8, pressure here.
A las 7 de la noche comienza el evento aquí por JuanSabeloTodoDeportes.
Obviously been a grueling season for a lot of these guys, so I'm sure a lot of them bumps, bruises, not 100% at this stage. It is quite a run when you're competing every Wednesday, 5 straight weeks.
Yeah, it is. Let's see if Sam can go around He had an underhook on that outside arm. Shades of Sean Melanson there.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned the bumps and bruises. We are in this week-to-week format, so physically they have a bit more time to recover between each match, but I firmly believe the 6-week format is harder on the athletes when you think about the mental factor, being here for 6 weeks. Yeah, you got more time to recover, but it's we used to call it, you know, the gauntlet. I mean, it is truly a marathon.
You know, Melanson said, you know, some really interesting quotes this week, talking about needing 3 weeks of competition to sort of settle in. He says he's never been this frustrated at a competition in his entire career, and he's having a great season.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was like, we talking about the same guy?
Right.
But I think it points to the challenges. Jake Strauss said this is the toughest thing he's ever done, the PGF, and doing hard things is good.
Well, we have to agree to disagree.
And you got Strauss on the shot clock now.
They really haven't had a lot of shot clock calls tonight.
Not too many.
Halfway through that shot clock, able to get back to his feet briefly was Strauss. Now he finds himself in bottom position once again. And that did reset the shot clock.
Yeah, he had to kind of take just an emergency wrestling shot there to get that clock turned off.
And I like it. I mean, it's all about action here at the PGF, and sometimes, you know, BMAC has talked about it. It's not a game of necessarily smart jiu-jitsu. It's a game of exciting jiu-jitsu here at PGF.
Sam looks like he's going to try to set up a roll. No, he might be looking for that inside leg. Let's see if he can convert on that.
A lot of time here for Schwarzenegger to work.
Sam sits into the outside leg. He's got an ankle on it, and he still has the inside trap. Nice job by Strauss.
For Sam, that would have been his first submission of the season, but Strauss wise to it. Now he's in top.
The Twisters need Strauss to put numbers up on the board, and Strauss needs Strauss to put numbers
exactly.
up on the board.
You know, on deck we have TV dinner Anthony Salisbury versus Jaden Groner. Jaden Groner for the Wolverines has starting to become a little bit of a problem. The Wolverines early in this season potentially was that team you might want to face to sort of build up your point total. Not so much as the season goes along.
Schwarzenegger on the shot clock now. Trying to get on the back here is Strauss. We got a bit of a wardrobe issue. Shot clock going to expire.
Vimos ahí que tocaron ahí un foul de algún tipo.
Now we're going to get a restart here in the penalty position.
Como ustedes pueden ver,
for shot clock violation of this match, it goes on Sam Schwarzenegger. 97 seconds remain in the match. Tim, what are your thoughts on the shot clock and the penalty position? Because it is unlike anything else in jiu-jitsu, and you know, some people love it, some people hate it.
I don't hate it. It's shades of folk-style wrestling, very similar in terms of the referee's position. Some guys don't mind being put in that position.
Right.
They're good at scrambling out of it. Whatever you do, you got to have a penalty that has teeth. It has to have teeth, and it has to hurt immediately.
¡Ay, cómo lo volteó! ¡Qué buena! Mira, mira, qué bien salió de ese lío. Se salió de ese lío.
Well, even if you penalize guys later, we're going to fine you $200 at the end of the season. That doesn't have the same bite as saying we're going to penalize you right here, right now. You might lose the match because of it.
And it's just all about progressing the match. If you are avoiding action, it means you're avoiding ultimately a conclusion, and you know, it's all about action here at PGF.
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing that makes jiu-jitsu great is time and pressure also makes it unwatchable. You know what I mean? You have to put some parameters around it to make it entertaining for the folks who are watching the matches.
You bring up a great point, because the PGF, the goal is to bring not just jiu-jitsu fans in, but to make sports fans of jiu-jitsu. And, you know, we can all sit there and appreciate a very technical matchup. But sometimes you need to just put pedal to the metal, get some casual fans in here. And these guys are hunting for it as we head down the stretch. 10 seconds on the clock.
Ya esto se va a terminar, mi gente.
A smirk
Ya va a sonar el pito.
from Schwartzapple.
And I mean, that match, I think, is sort of been emblematic of the entire season for Sam Schwartzapple. Found himself in some positions to potentially score, but Strauss one step ahead of it. And we go the distance, no points. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
After 6 minutes, this match finishes with a draw.
Eso significa empate, mi gente, para aquellos que no conocen el deporte.
Nice sign of respect between these two athletes. Take a look at the match recap here, powered by Dahlinger, Tim Freeman.
So we can see Sam has got a good bite, and he attacks the outside defensive leg. Generally, you do that because if it gets defended, you could slip into the leg you have controlled, but Strauss did a nice job. Strauss here trying to pick Sam's back, but you can see Sam's got a nice reach-around headlock on Strauss that he was able to actually not just escape with, but end up with the pass.
So, TJ, unless I'm mistaken, in terms of this block, 4 points thus far for the Kings, 3 for the Twisters. All right?
6 for the Twisters.
Thank you.
Man, we're in trouble if you're having me do math. All right, Stephen Aiken, keep going.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Parker TV Dinner Salisbury.
Welcome back to the PGF, Anthony Salisbury with the TV Dinner sweatshirt. Missed the last couple weeks due to injury. Has yet to find a W this season. Will face Groner, Bowers, and McCulley tonight.
Time for TV Dinner to make a triumphant return. That's what the Twisters want. That's what the Twisters need. We'll see if he can do it. Now back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Jaden Groner.
So Jaden Groner has quickly made himself must-see TV in the PGF. He's won 4 straight matches. Just a fascinating story, right? Loses all 3 of his matches week 1, has to sit out week 2, and really been on a tear ever since. 3 breaks last week, 2 breaks, 1 kill, all by Elbow Genie. He sits in that number 8 slot. Hopes to improve that seeding as the night goes on.
Yeah, 19 points racked up for Groner, who has been a breakout, sort of unexpected star, I think, here for the Wolverines, who, were really going through it. But, while they're out of the team championship hunt, there's a lot for the Wolverines to support and get excited for. Groner is definitely one of those gentlemen.
No question about it. And the Colorado Wolverines, this franchise, it's the inception of this franchise.
Right.
And Jaden Groner is a big part of what they want to do. And slowly but surely, this Colorado team is going to be a force to be reckoned with in this promotion.
Groner's all over Salisbury right now. If I'm Jaden, whatever I did last Wednesday leading up to the matches, I'm doing that same thing this Wednesday. Like, I'm not changing a thing.
Well, team owner Dave Seagraves, formerly known as Egghead, talked about how happy Groner was sort of going into last week. And all fighters need to be in different mental spaces, and only you know what's right for you. But clearly Groner maybe not taking himself too seriously and leaning into the joy is the right swing thought, if you will.
Yeah, while you're winning, you'll stick with that.
Right.
And, that's the thing. We talk about how every match matters. I mean, PGF is a format where you can have a breakout night that really sort of defines you, and people will call back upon. And I think last week for Groner was just something incredibly special, and he's trying to keep that momentum here in week number 5, 90 seconds into this one. He's in mount here on Salisbury.
Salisbury, the youngest competitor this season at 17 years old.
At 17, there was no way I was coming out here to face these monsters.
North-south here.
You can see Jaden's been hunting but not committing yet. You can see him kind of like a predator looking at his prey. He's looking for the openings, but he hasn't quite pulled the trigger yet. I like that Salisbury just keeps working. Just keeps moving, keeps working. doesn't get too static. Right as I say that, BMAC puts him on the clock. Gives him the warning.
Caught in the rash guard there as the foot of TV dinner back underway.
That's a nice pass for Jaden there. And he's got the elbow isolated. He might be able to convert this into a kill. Let's see how Salisbury defends.
Ooh, nicely done. He's still in this mount here. We'll see if he can move over to the...
Nicely done. Qué llave, mi gente.
The rise continues for the Wolverines. Jaden Groner, 6 points. The kill, and man, Twisters did not need that. Wow, what a night here to begin the night for Jaden Groner. Let's go ahead and make it official. Stephen Aiken.
Your winner, with a kill, representing the Colorado Wolverines, Jaden Groner.
If you are any athlete on the bubble, that is the worst case scenario. The number 8 seed to put up 6 big points. He now vaults himself in front of Sean Melanson.
Yeah, he does. That puts Melanson at 24 points now at number 8. Wow.
And my question, Tim, was Groner going to need to get over the side to finish it, but I got my answer very quickly as Salisbury taps. A look at the end there, brought to you by Dolomer. And man, look at the Wolverines, very happy for their guy, Jaden Groner. See what he can do here before night's end, but a big step towards securing that number 8 spot and maybe even closing the distance as he goes on throughout the night. All right, back to Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Big Dog Travis Haven.
Not sure there's a guy who I've enjoyed having part of the PGF as much as Travis Haven. He sits in that number 6 slot with 26 points. Had a good week last week. Kill over Caleb Crump, and then finished his night with a break over Jared Faketa. He'll face Squires, Magana, and Chambers here tonight, hoping to put the Twisters sort of back in that team mix. Certainly he has individual considerations as well.
Well, Groner just tied this block up, so the big dog finds himself in a big game situation. We'll see how Travis Haven responds.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Joshua Squires.
Here is Joshua Squires, the front runner for the newly minted 6th Man of the Year award in the PGF. He came off the bench in week 2. He's faced some tough competition. Had to face Jet Thompson twice. Had a big break over Derek Atkins at the end of week 4 last week. And still is in the mix if he can make some magic here.
26 points for Haven. 10 points for Squires. We are underway. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman, live in a secret location. It is the site of week number 5 of PGF.
So it looks like the Twisters, unless... so now the Wolverines have 6 in the block, so they are tied with the Twisters. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
This block point will be very significant. For those that don't know, 1 block point is awarded to each individual athlete for the team that wins the block. These singular points will matter in this playoff picture.
And if you're the Wolverines and you can win 2 blocks back-to-back, that's a big deal for them as a team.
Great point. They did win the final block in week 4. Good stuff, Tim.
It's a really big deal for them. And Squires just got under on the leg. Let's see if he can finish this. Haven does a nice job, though, of getting a crossface. Now he's turning it to the front headlock. It looks like Haven looks like he might be showing like he's trying to look for a Darce, but Squires stays on the leg, and he's got him in honey hole right here, and he's got double trouble. Let's see if he can finish it, though. You don't see a lot of taps off of this particular cloverleaf sub, but as you can see, Haven's right heel is just hanging out.
Honey Hole, Double Trouble.
Yeah, I didn't make these names up. No, this is just
sounds
jiu-jitsu
like
speak.
You know, Haven's had a lot of support this season. He talks about his family, sort of, you could pay them to watch him at the Worlds, but the PGF, they can't get enough, right? Everyone thought he was doing karate until he gets to the PGF. Now they know what he's about.
Yeah, you know it's bad when your parents ask you, why don't you have your outfit on? And Squires is going to go belly down on this. Let's see if he continues to hunt for this clover leaf or if he tries to change it up.
You know, and Haven, despite having a good year, he has been scored against, only one draw in his 12 matches thus far. So he has been broken here and there.
And I believe Haven went on a 4-fight loss streak, too.
He did.
He can be beat, but he's still, even with that, he's managed to hang around the top 8 all season.
Yep. Well, it helps when you have a couple chokes mixed in. Those are the point.
And this is a close chance for Squires. He almost was able to pin Travis's leg to his head. He's going to go back to it. Let's see if he has enough leg length. And he does.
And Haven on the hunt.
He turned it into a
right here.
Oh. Squires doing a nice job of keeping their bodies close. Haven's going to need to extend to get this finish.
If Haven finds a break or kill here, the Twisters win the block.
Halfway point of the match. Really trying to get a look out here.
Yo creo que se acabó ya. Cuando le dio esa retorsión, que yo vi que retorsión de
A big win for Travis Haven, and the Alabama Twisters are making some things happen, as it's still a tough road to hoe, but they're doing their part. Big win right there, securing the block. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
Your winner with a break, representing the Alabama Twisters, Big Dog, Travis Haven.
Travis Haven, big game player, big game performance. He went #1 at the draft, and this might be the #1 win of his run with all the importance on it. Tim Freeman, walk us through.
So we could see, we were all looking at Squires because he had the isolation, and in the meantime, Haven set up a nice ankle lock. And Squires was doing a good job. He was staying tight, and you can see he kind of said, forget it, I'm going to go for my own shot, and it got converted into a heel hook. Squires had to tap.
What?
Those block points are going to be very significant for all the Twisters in the top 8 on the leaderboard.
Absolutely. What a dramatic opening to our 5th and final night here of the PGF 2026 season. The Twisters, they've got a lot of work to do yet, but they have done a good job at getting their night started. And all right, nicely done. All right, getting word now. It is time to take a look at a video package here, PGF home to the Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame, and we've got some news on that right now.
I would like to do something that I feel is important. You know, in Jiu-Jitsu, we have the very prestigious and incredible ADCC, the Abu Dhabi Combat Club. They got their Hall of Fame. We got the IBJJF out there doing their own thing. They got their Hall of Fame. But what doesn't exist in our sport is a Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame. Something that acknowledges the efforts of everybody, not just one individual organization. And so what I would like to do tonight is establish our first 2 recipients for the Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame. I don't think that you could really have a legitimate and true Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame if you didn't start with one man. The man who started it all. I'd like to welcome and introduce you, ladies and gentlemen, to Royce Gracie.
It wasn't me. You guys never saw me fighting. You saw the technique. So thanks to my Uncle Carlos and my father, they're the ones that started the whole thing. I was just a product of their work. What happened in Brazil a long time ago, the world did not see until it came to America. Now, once America found out, the whole world found out.
I would also like to acknowledge another man who has been a force in jiu-jitsu. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you the one, the only, another legend, Carlos Machado.
I'm so excited here right now that I may be at a loss of words. Brandon, what's going on PGF? This evolution, jiu-jitsu will never, ever be a job done. Will always be a work in progress. And I know that it's humbling for me to see how much it has evolved, but also very motivating. And if I can feel I have a small piece of contribution in this big, big revolution that has taken place with the Gracie family, my cousins have started, and we are blessed to learn from and continue the work here, delivering to you the best we can and to see the best coming to fruition. And let me tell you, PGF is just the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Royce Gracie and Carlos Machado, the first inductees into the Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame.
PGF home to the Jiu-Jitsu Hall of Fame, and we honor the legends of BJJ. And no two guys more worthy of that than Carlos Machado and the legend that is Royce Gracie. Carlos here in attendance, chatting with Zoe. I can't get past the, I think the kids call it the drip of Zoe. I mean, man.
Yeah, I can't either, to be honest with you. It's looking good. I thought I was going to be cool and rock a bolo tie someday here, and he came in with a golden saber-tooth claw?
Yeah, something like that. All right, let's take a look at the team standings here. Jason Anik, why don't you walk us through?
All right, so Kings have a 21-point lead over the Twisters at this time. They will face off at the beginning of this block. Gotta think the Twisters have to make more headway in this block because, as we said, it's getting late early, right? And the Phenoms and Wolverines certainly looking up. Better luck next year. But the Twisters still alive. They made a little headway, but maybe not quite enough.
Yeah, they're going to have to be hunting next when they take on the Kings. And dare I say it, Monteleone. Individual standings, Jet Thompson has basically been on a rocket to the top. He's 58 points, leading the league. Kevin Buring in that number 2 spot. Elijah Carlton at number 3, tied technically with Austin Arande.
Yeah, and you see Carlton had the break, but then got that team point to give him the 4 points. Arande had the elbow genie break, so those guys remain tied. We are going to see Thompson versus Buring and Arande versus Carlton in this block here. Chewy sort of locked in at number 5. And it'll be interesting to take a look at the bubble because Jaden Groner is the fly in the ointment. I'm sure Derek Rayfield and others aren't happy with how Jaden Groner has put himself in this position. Now Melanson, right? Jet Thompson, how do you like Melanson as your first match in the playoff if it were to start right now? Just fascinating, but really that top 8 is going to be tough to crack for the guys on the bubble.
Yeah, that's really what matters here as we take a look, at the bubble. And you're fighting not only to get into the playoffs, but deciding who you're going to take on. Could you imagine Melanson Thompson first out the gate?
Right. Well, and Tim, for Strauss and Rayfield, you're looking up at a 24-point scorer in Melanson in that 8th spot. So only a couple matches left. It's got to be magical.
Yeah, you still have
Strauss
a chance
and Rayfield, you're looking up at a 24-point scorer in Melanson in that 8th spot. So only a couple matches left. It's got to be magical.
On that bubble,
however, Rayfield, you're looking up at a 24-point scorer in Melanson in that 8th.
That bubble, however,
Rayfield doesn't get in. His other teammate Cockle back in Philadelphia healing up that elbow. Rayfield doesn't get in. His other teammate Cockle back in Philadelphia finally I'll just say in terms of this Rayfield doesn't get in. His other teammate Cockle back in Philadelphia. Finally, I'll just say in terms of this
here tonight in Las Vegas, but now let's take a moment and check in with our Alex Wendling, who is standing by.
What an exciting first block. We saw Jaden Groner put up 6 points, and right now I am standing by with the head coach, or the owner of the Colorado Wolverines. We also have CJ Seagraves here as well. Everyone just here to support. When it comes to what Jaden Groner has been able to do, he is your lone soldier in the playoffs. What is your overall analysis of his season so far?
I mean, he's proven he is who he thought he was. He is a rising star in jiu-jitsu, period. Unfortunately, so many of these guys we had to talk to, like, hey, don't get injured, on that first week. But, they're warriors. They hold themselves to a high standard, and they don't want to let down the other guys. And so we unfortunately had some bad injuries that first week. And so I think now everyone's just seeing what we saw in him before the draft. Because if he didn't have that injury that first week, man, he'd have so many more points.
And if you guys can hear now, he has a little bit of a scratchy voice. That's why you might mix him up with the coach, because he's so passionate. You told me before we went on air that these guys are your new boys, your new sons. Whenever your son used to play college ball, you would be losing your voice cheering for him. So what is it like, the family essence that this team has?
It's truly amazing. I mean, we have a fire pit, and they always joke that, it's not a real fire if you can't see from space. And we, guys are cooking on cast iron grills on that thing. We're grilling all the time. Everyone's learning from each other, and the way they're gelling and the camaraderie they have, the esprit de corps. That's everything I love about the Marine Corps, and that's transferred 100% over to the Wolverines.
And now we got to talk about the sixth man, Joshua Squires, putting up some major points for you guys. What did you expect from him from this season?
So, I mean, I was there in person with Brandon at the Pasadena qualifier. I saw him get second. I saw him do some amazing things. I knew he was dangerous, but he kind of was under the radar a little bit because he wasn't as well known a person. But he was on the short list of the guys that we were targeting. And I mean, just talk about a sixth man. Comes in that first week after Grimey gets hurt, goes against Jet Thompson, and then we have to all of a sudden last week, Brett Moyer's out, pardon me. And again, hi Jet again. But, he is that warrior that just puts his head down and says, all right, I'm here to work. And, he's had some huge points for us. He's had some big moments. And he's a guy that we've been able to rally around.
Yes, I got to say, I have so much respect for you guys for keeping that positive energy. I know that you guys are obviously, far away from getting the first place spot. But the energy on the sidelines has been great all season long. The Colorado Wolverines making their debut season. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. Egghead, the owner of the Wolverines, and definitely cheering on his guys. We've already had a ton of action here tonight. It is the fifth and final week of the regular season. Chewy Magana, Sean Melanson, they went to war. Elijah Carlton going to work against CJ Crump, finding some must-needed points for the Twisters, and they'll be on the hunt to kick off block number 2 when they take on the Kings. It's all headed your way next. Live from Las Vegas, you're watching the Professional Grappling Federation.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Now for the main event.
We're all He's the great owner of many.
Yeah, very good.
A live shot of Las Vegas, the combat sports capital. It is the perfect setting for the 5th and final week of this regular season for the Professional Grappling Federation. 1 block down, 2 to go, and here is a main event matchup of teams. The league-leading Las Vegas Kings taking on the second-place Alabama Twisters. The Twisters would love to close the gap here and try to take home this team title. And the time is now as we see our matchups. Cam Hurd for the Kings taking on Jake Strauss. Travis Haven, the big dog, draws Chewy Magana. J.J. Bowers on his first night of action this season. He takes on TV Dinner Anthony Salisbury. Kevin Buring draws Jet Thompson. What a matchup there. And Austin Arande and Elijah Carlton rounded out. All right, we've got some representatives of the United States Army in attendance here tonight. They are the guest of the Las Vegas Kings, the Navy here as well, and they are looking to find the next generation of America's finest warriors. And always good to see.
So, aquí tenemos visitando en el día de hoy de gente de la militar allá estadounidense. Y como ustedes pueden ver, lo están saludando ahí y todo, que andan buscando a ver cuáles van a ser los campeones de esta temporada. El segundo bloque va a comenzar ahora. Vamos a pasar el locutor, mi gente, para ver lo que hay.
Representing the Las Vegas Kings, make some noise for Cam Hurd!
Here is Cam Hurd. When the night began, maybe we thought Hurd had a shot with 15 points, but it's going to be challenging. Going to have to make some magic here. Certainly that team competition is important to him as well and can certainly contribute there. Had a draw versus McCulley last time out tonight.
Absolutely, Cam Hurd would love to make it to the playoffs, but I think he has played his part and his role for these Las Vegas Kings, who still sit atop the leaderboard. And Cam Hurd was a guy that the Kings wanted to bring in for a variety of reasons. His skills, on the mat are great, but he's a guy who embodies their work ethic, and he's still doing his part here tonight on the final night of this 2026 season. All right, time for his opponent to make the walk. Back to Steven.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Give it up for Jake Strauss.
Jake Strauss really sort of rounding into form. He had a stretch during this season where he lost 4 out of 5 matches, but he's on a sort of 3-fight unbeaten streak. Had that big break over Cockle, obviously, last week, and then a draw against Jet Thompson to finish the night. For Strauss here, I'm perhaps thinking hunt and neck, right? That team competition. Go for broke, no?
Yeah, absolutely. 6 points are what kills are worth, 3 for breaks, and Strauss definitely wants to try to make something happen as he draws.
Hi, I hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, about to get this second block underway.
Como podemos ver aquí, mi gente, estos dos peleadores, estos dos luchadores están bien cerca en las puntuaciones. El de rojo o de los vikingos tenía 15 puntos y cuando entró en este juego esta noche era con el plan de poder conseguir los puntos que le faltaban para garantizarle una posición para la siguiente semana. Pero eso no se sabe si él lo va a poder lograr. Como ustedes saben, el partido que pasó salió empate, no aumentó esas puntuaciones.
Be able to put this team on his back at times.
Ooh, getting aggressive here is Strauss. Not a lot of people going to.
Como pueden ver, ahí salió para afuera. Ese pleito salió de Manté. Ahí el juez lo va a regresar Manté. Y con eso ellos van a.
I like that, couched.
Took me a minute, but.
Comenzar, como dice,
last
en
season,
una posición
you
nueva
couch
ahí.
lock somebody by slamming them into the couch, but I just shortened it up to
I
couch
like that.
now.
Couch is perfect.
Este pleito aquí no va a ser muy fácil para los vikingos.
I mean, that was the whole thing when you were a kid and wrestling with your buddies. You try to slam them on the bed. It's all right.
Right.
Y en que el otro ha tenido en este partido, no en este partido de hoy, sino
Things could really
en este
start to
torneo,
get interesting here if the Twisters
tuvo
can
3
perform.
pérdidas temprano en el torneo.
And this is not what Jake Strauss and the Twisters want.
Pérdidas.
Oh, nicely
Pero
done,
ha
able to get
tenido
out of it.
3
Now on a headlock of his own.
una
Yeah,
tras de la
Strauss
otra.
did a nice job of kind of just rolling through
So,
that
ahí
attempt
se
from Cam
logró
Hurd and not
meterse otra vez de
necessarily
nuevo
resisting it, but just going with
Vamos a
it.
ver, esto se salió del mantel, está arriba de los fanáticos y cuando sucede eso,
I'm still waiting for us to sign a deal, and
tocan el
we'll
pito
have,
tienen que quedarse
so-and-so, the
tranquilos
official
porque
couch of
ellos lo
PGF.
posicionan lo más cercano a la posición que
That's a
estaban
great
ellos
idea.
en estos momentos. Con eso dicho, mi gente, recuérdense de suscribirse, de prender la campanita
They
para
both
que les
have a
lleguen
shot in
las
making the top
notificaciones
eight. It's an outside chance, and
otros
the longer
eventos
it goes,
así igual que
obviously,
este
the
y
more
no solo
outside
y
chance that
de
becomes. But multiple
diferentes
factors
también que
going
el
on in this
bolseo,
match, not just for the teams, but for them as individuals.
No, absolutely. As we
pelota,
see them in their second
pelota,
appearance of the night, we're going to start to see
basquetbol,
people become
baloncesto, mi
mathematically eliminated.
de
2 minutes
ambos
down here in this
sexos,
match.
hombre y los juegos de las mujeres.
Well, certainly for Cam Hurd, wanting to keep Jake Strauss and the Twisters off the board is important. But ultimately, with both
Y
guys
toda esa cosa
9
aquí en
points
canal de
out of that
JuanSabeloTodoDeportes,
slot,
totalmente
I
gratis, mi
ultimately
gente.
think you're going to
Ustedes
need
pueden
to
venir
find
a
a
ver eso
kill in one of
totalmente
these
gratis.
next two
Día a día
matches
tenemos
and
bolseo.
have some bounces go your way.
Tenemos bolseo a las
Cam
8:30
Hurd
de la
trying to
noche.
wrap up a kill right now.
Tiempo este.
Strauss able to hang tough.
Y ya te saben, nos quedan aquí 3 minutos con 30
3.5 minutes
segundos
remaining.
en este partido. Y
with
podamos
that
ver
front
que
headlock position
de
so
verdad
much.
que no podemos decir
He
que
just hunts
Viking
through it
de
looking
rojo
for
con
opportunities. Strauss
gris,
has done a
¿verdad? Que
nice
está
job
peleando ahora
of
con los
staying just
Twisters,
short enough in
con
those
los que están
attacks
metidos de
to
negro
not get his neck
completo.
extended.
Ha intentado toda la manera de poder lograr hacer una llave aquí
And Strauss
que
has
le
done a good job
dé
here thus far
terminación
as
a
we
este pleito.
approach the halfway
pero
point
no
of the
ha
match
tenido
of being
éxito.
aggressive here with Cam Hurd.
Tiene que tener cuidado porque normalmente
pass the
cuando
guard,
están
though,
así
sir.
en el suelo, que no se quieren parar del suelo y cosas, están programando en su cerebro hacer una llave de pie de esa que
Appreciate you
hacen
joining us
rendir
here
al
for this
oponente
fifth
del
and
día.
final night of the
So, hay que
regular
tener
season.
cuidadito
Don't
ahí,
forget
esto se puede
playoffs coming
acabar
up
rápido,
next week,
igual como puede
right here
durar
on YouTube and
los
Kick
2
or wherever
minutos
you might be watching
41
around the world.
segundos que faltan. Vamos a ver, ojalá que no sea otro empate, porque esos empates en esta altura de juego, este siendo el último
Strauss
juego,
pulls a
el
nice
último
little
pleito
Craig
de-
Jones-esque escape out of that.
de lo
Almost
normal,
ends up on Hurd's
porque
back.
ya el próximo
They
pleito
came
es
out
para
of there, and
decidir
I'm
un
thinking, where did that come from? That was
campeonato,
nuts.
que es el día 8 a las 7 de la noche tiempo aquí en JuanSabeloTodoDeportes. Recuerden de suscribirse, prender la campanita, para que no se pierda la notificación. Y aquí nos quedan 2 minutos con 3 segundos en el reloj. Y como podemos ver, ninguno de los dos han podido
And while
tener
it's maybe a
éxito
little bit slower of a
hacer
pace here from Hurd, he's a guy that is always active and
En que
moving and
hemos
passing the
visto
guard. He brings a very
que los
unique
Twisters que
style
están metidos de
based
negro
on that
completo,
wrestling game, and now a
como que no ha
very
querido pararse del
well-rounded
piso, no, hombre, en el partido entero.
traditional jiu-jitsu player. Now we're
Está
going for
peligrosa
this
esa posición,
choke
se dejó
again.
agarrar en una posición
Oh, man.
peligrosa.
And Strauss one step ahead of it, but Cam Hurd going for it.
We've seen
Dio
Strauss
muchas
do that a
vueltas ahí
couple
para salirse
times
de
in
ese
this
ring.
match where he's just continued to roll into the attack instead of trying to resist against it, and it's served him quite well so far.
Inside the final 90 seconds.
Vamos para encima aquí, mi gente.
If you're tuning in, wonder where BMAC is. Normally on the commentary team, he's been working the shot clock and working that side of things. He will join us for the third and final block. You hear the sounds of BMAC telling him to keep it going as we enter the final minute.
Bueno, mi gente, vamos a ver, vamos a ver.
Strauss almost
Quedan nada más
gives him an
48 segundos en el
Uchimata for
reloj.
his trouble.
I mean, if he would have got an Uchimata, there would have been a money bag flying.
Right.
44 segundos. Esto aparentemente va a terminar en empate, mi gente.
Now inside the final 30 seconds.
Quedan 28 segundos en el reloj.
What's the line on a Cam Hurd flying
Quedan
armbar?
24.
Man, I don't think it's a good one.
Esto va a terminar empate ya, porque con la experiencia que tienen estos dos luchadores, yo dudo que
Although we
uno de
did
ellos dos
see
va a quedar
Melanson
rendido ahora.
go for a flying
En el
attack
poco tiempo
earlier
que
in the
queda aquí en la
season.
It's true.
Vamos a ver.
This match creeping towards
Nada más
a
toma un
draw
segundo
and
aquí
the
para uno
drama
ganar, pero vamos a
continuing
ver.
between these two top
6
franchises of the
segundos,
2026
5
season.
segundos, 4, 3,
And while
2.
it's not going to help Cam Hurd's individual cause, that right there was a performance of a stopper.
No doubt about it.
Keeps the Twisters off the board. Twisters trying to close the gap, unable to do so there.
Empate
Stephen
quedó
Aiken to
eso.
make it official.
After 6 minutes, this match finishes with a draw.
No points for either team. And while there wasn't any points for the Kings, it was an opportunity for the Twisters that does go by the wayside.
Ya ahí sabemos
And
por
each and
seguro
every
que
opportunity
ya
counts.
este muchacho
Even
de los
more as
vikingos,
our
el
night
de
continues.
rojo,
Tim
ya
Freeman
no
walk
va a
us through some of
participar
the action and the
en el
highlights.
último
So we
evento.
can see here Strauss doing a nice job again of just rolling through those Darce attacks.
De esta temporada
Almost
2026.
pulled off an
Y vamos a pasar al
style
locutor.
escape there and ended up on the back. Again, rolling through the attacks. Hurd just doesn't quite have the arm length to get it finished. It was a nice little counter to Hurd's single leg attempt. And Strauss tried to run it to a front headlock, but these guys are all front headlock hungry, and they're also good at defending front headlock.
All right, the first match out of the way in the second block. A high-stakes affair between these Kings and Twisters. And now we see a matchup of Chupacabra, Chuy Magana, taking on the big dog, Travis Haven. Let's get to it here. No, we're not doing that quite yet. Getting word that we got something else going on. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, the Dream giving us a look, doesn't know what's going on. I do see Chewy lingering back there. Haven was couple
Vamos a ver como que hay un retraso aquí pequeño. Tal vez se está moviendo algo que todavía no lo han anunciado. Vamos a ver qué es lo que está pasando aquí. A ver qué es lo que se mueve porque esto está medio raro. ¿Verdad que sí? Estaba supuesto ya que estuvieran presentando ya el próximo pleito. Okay, ya están saliendo.
We'll see if maybe it has something to do with Travis Haven, but an enormous spot for both athletes, both in the playoff picture.
And it was a very quick turnaround for these Twisters from the last block to this one. And, you know, sometimes you walk off the mat and you feel okay and everything's fine, and then something creeps up. And we shall see what happens here.
So it looks as though, I believe I just saw Stephen Aiken mouth that Chewy is out. If that is correct. Whoa.
All right. Let's get to it, Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, versing the Las Vegas Kings. Give it up for CJ Murdoch.
So a quick turn of events here. So happy that CJ Murdoch gets an opportunity to compete here in Season 9. You know, he was a big part of the Tropic Thunders last season, and they had a really tough season, and he was the reason why they maybe had the best chemistry of any club. I'm so happy that he and Bowers get a chance to compete tonight, and what an opportunity for CJ Murdoch here to impact his team's championship performance tonight.
All right, CJ Murdoch.
Vamos a ver, este pleito que va a haber ahora mismo con este luchador no estaba programado para hoy. Este luchador es un buen luchador que participó en los juegos del año pasado, pero se pensaba que no iba a jugar en los juegos de este año, pero algo se movió ahí donde tuvieron que traerlo ahí. Lo entraron a él en el último instante. Vamos a ver, mi gente, pero como quiera que sea, recuérdense que no solamente son puntos individuales, también los puntos son acumulativos entre el grupo. Como quiera que sea, el luchador que va a luchar ahora mismo, como ustedes pueden ver, tiene 0 puntos. 0 puntos contra un luchador de 29 puntos en esta temporada, porque este es su primer pleito de esta temporada. Entonces, su primer y último, porque ya no va a cualificar para el último juego, ¿entiendes? Vamos a desearle suerte aquí a este caballero y vamos a ver lo que sucede. Como ustedes vieron, había un respeto entre esas dos personas ahí que se ve que es de mucho tiempo. Parece que el hombre es respetado y conocido muy bien por el oponente de los Twisters, que son los que están vestidos completamente negros. Vamos a ver lo que sucede aquí.
And the worry was if he did take off this match for injury, there would be the 3-fight rule eliminating him from the playoffs. But they discussed that would not be an issue. And as you can see, there's some action going on, so I won't talk too much longer. But behind the scenes, CJ Murdoch, Chewy,
me estoy enterando ahora mismo que hay una regla en este deporte. ¡Oh! 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 ¿Y eso? ¡Oh! Pero esa loquera cuando viene a ver le cuenta el juego.
Travis Haven just got a successful showing against Belgium.
And that's what we're talking about. The Alabama Twisters are alive.
Unbelievable stuff. The big dog, Travis Haven, getting it done. Hopefully we can check in with Alex to
yo
get
creo
the
que esa
last
loquera que él
update,
hizo.
But wow, stealing.
Déjame ver, yo creo que de rojo perdió. Porque no se vio muy claro eso.
Let's go ahead and make it official. Steven.
Your winner with a 7-point kill representing the Alabama Twisters.
7 puntos cogió para el equipo ahí. Y 7 puntos para el equipo y para él también. So, él tenía 29, tiene 36 ahora, mi gente. No, esa loquera que hizo. Esa es loquera que hizo este hombre también. Eso estuvo loco. Eso que él hizo ahí lo puso en una posición de debilidad.
And Haven pulled him
Y
into a
el
triangle for his
Twister,
trouble.
el
He
vestido
ends
de
up on
negro
top,
se
and you can
aprovechó
see
de una
Haven
vez.
does something smart. He passes on the arm bar and instead goes for the 7-point kill instead of the 4. His team needs those extra 3 points. Great strategic move by Haven.
Oh, unbelievable stuff.
La llave que le echó ahí era el valor de 7 puntos ahí.
For the Alabama Twisters, of course. CJ Murdoch was on the mat, a bench player.
Ese partido fue rápido, mi gente.
Let's take a look at the
Súper rápido. Ya ustedes saben, eso fue rápido.
Yeah, so 15 points. Maybe my calculation was off. I thought it was 14 points. But either way, if the Kings are not feeling the pressure, I would be surprised. We have 3 more matches in this block. It is just going to be fascinating. Those last 2 matches between Thompson, Buring, Arande, and Carlton, they're going to matter.
Absolutely. Every point matters. We said it at the top of the broadcast, and Twisters doing their part to make sure that the night is not over early. All right, packed house here in Las Vegas. We were chatting with Alex Wendling about the status of one Chewy Magana. Alex, we had some action there on the mat. Big moments. Sorry to cut you off. Can we hear the latest on Chewy?
Thanks, TJ. Yes, so I was backstage. They were figuring out who was going to be going in for the Las Vegas Kings, and obviously CJ got his time to shine. They were hugging backstage, and Chewy views CJ as a brother, so it was one of those moments where they really just wanted to get him on the mats. The injury is not going to take out Chewy from the playoffs. He is good to go. The original worry was that if he sits out because of the injury for the rest of the night, that he wouldn't be able to compete in the playoffs, but that's not going to be an issue. So there's going to be more Chewy Magana on the way, just not tonight, guys.
Thanks so much, Alex. I appreciate that. The 3-match rule, kind of goes back to the old idea of a spa day. You're not allowed to, take it off and, just come back whenever you want to. But good that Chewy, is eligible for the playoffs. But, the concern is how bad is the injury?
Yeah, well, and, honestly, my focus can't leave this team competition. That graphic was off 1 point. 14 points. This is wide open at this point. I'm not sure I thought we were going to get here, and maybe it took something like a Chewy Magana injury to put us in this position, but if the Alabama Twisters don't believe they have a chance to steal this team championship away, I'm fascinated.
Yeah, I think the Twisters have been in the number 1 spot during the season. It's only been for like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? So steal is the right word. And with 14 points, that's just 2. So the truck is saying 15. We'll figure it out. But bottom line is striking distance, to say the least. And, it's a matchup that's happening right now. So let's get back to it if we can. Let's go back to the mat. Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Make some noise for JJ Bowers.
All right, here he is, his second appearance of the night and of the season here for J.J. Bowers. He will oppose Anthony Salisbury, and an enormous opportunity right now for J.J. Bowers to separate the Kings a little bit again from the Twisters.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you're J.J. Bowers coming in off the bench, you know, it was very disappointing for him to not land in a starting, roster sort of position with a team this season. But he has the opportunity to start pounding in coffin nails of the Alabama Twisters. But the Twisters, they've got some momentum on their side. So high-stakes, high-pressure matchup for the PGF veteran in J.J. Bowers. All right, time for his opponent to make the walk. We go back to Steven.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Parker TV Dinner Salisbury.
Big spot here for Anthony Salisbury. He's lost 3 straight and 5 of 6. Big opportunity after missing a couple of weeks to have a big impact on the performance of his team here in the 2026 season.
Absolutely. Tail of the tape, 2 points for the Twisters. TV Dinner, Anthony Salisbury. He takes on J.J. Bowers in what is Bowers' second appearance of this 2025 season. He represents the Las Vegas Kings. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman, live in Las Vegas as we see Salisbury and Bowers. We are underway. Salisbury takes a seat.
Both these guys looking to get on the board. Salisbury could really use a win. He's had a tough season. He's 17 years old, all things considered. Great experience for him. Bowers came in with a huge burst last season. He had major money put behind him, a lot of pressure. And, you know, that's hard as a young athlete. He comes back this season. He works his way through the trials, comes in on the last week as an alternate, and he's still getting after it. He definitely has something to prove. Both these guys want to walk away with a win tonight.
You know, and BMAC has talked a lot about the evolution of a guy like even Elijah Carlton, and you see these guys grow as athletes and as people. Bowers just looks to be in a very different place than he was last season. Despite all that pressure, I think sitting back and being involved in this team has been a huge blessing for Bowers.
1 minute of elapsed time here in the match. We talk about that rough streak, rough run of matches for Salisbury. You know, this is very much a what have you done for me lately? And if he's able to get some points, I mean, he's going to be a hero.
Absolutely, especially when your team needs these points. The next 2 matchups between the Kings and Twisters, basically the Twisters are going to be given a chance with their best guys to beat the Kings' best guys. But it sure would help to have a few extra points from Salisbury going into it.
Salisbury bleeding pretty good out that nose, it appears.
Oh, yeah, the blood definitely flowing. We're going to get a little bit of a stoppage here to address that bloody nose. Was it a headbutt? Yeah, it's not a cut. It's definitely a bloody nose. I mean, that's a lot of blood. Let's take a look at the replay. I think we might actually have where the nose got busted open. Our production crew's been on point all season, and they are so here as we see, maybe it was a knee.
Yeah,
the blood's already flowing there.
The foot sort of grazed it. Almost maybe looks like a cut on the outside of the nose, but prior to that, we did. It was the foot that came up that sort of to create the cut.
All right, so they are addressing that blood, and so we've got clarification here on our standings. The gap is 14 points. You can see it there, the Twisters trailing the Kings. The question was that last kill worth 7 points? You get a extra point if it happens in the first minute of the match, and it came in right at that 1 minute mark. So
right on the nose, 60 seconds.
Yeah, dramatic sort of affair there. Travis Haven coming up big, and
this is not an insurmountable lead for the Las Vegas Kings.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last time the Kings won a PGF title a couple seasons back. I mean, it felt like it was over week 3 with Ryan Aiken being so dominant. no early popping of champagne bottles tonight in Las Vegas.
And the Twisters coming up in Block C face the Phenoms, right? And Adam Frank instead of Andrew Cockle, right? So potentially some opportunities here.
Yeah.
I think this could get very interesting as the night goes on.
And this is where we talked earlier about serving up jiu-jitsu action on a plate of sports. This is sports right here. This is it.
Yes.
This hunt, they're not out of it. Can they get back into it? Who's on the bubble? Who's out? Who's in? This is the draw for a true sports fan. This is why we love sports. We can change out almost what's happening in between. As long as we have that extra stuff, we're going to watch it.
Absolutely.
JJ Bowers flexing to the crowd a little bit. He's having fun. But, Jason, I always talk about how I feel like you have almost more to say when the night is done because we have all these storylines coming out of each and every week. And that's to, what Tim was saying, that is sports. And the narratives, now trying to, inverted here, north-south. But that's what you see here at PGF. The story always evolves, and it takes each and every match to sort of get our answer when all these athletes are performing at their best.
Bowers continues to put pressure on Salisbury here.
Waiting in the wings, the number 1 and 2 seed, Jet Thompson and Kevin Buring.
I mean, that's a main event match. That might be the championship match when it's all said and done. Who knows? Three and a half minutes remain here.
Oh, there's another headbutt. Did you see that? That was rough. That was rough.
I mean, unfazed as a 17-year-old, it appears.
Former training partner Salisbury is of Jet Thompson, so...
I mean, that guy will hit you in the nose.
He'll hit you in the nose before practice, just to get you ready for practice.
Halfway point of the match.
Create some off balances or something, Parker. You can't just bring him out of there.
BMAC looking for some action out of Salisbury, threatening that shot clock.
See the coach of the Twisters in the lower left-hand corner of the screen, Sean Applegate. Would love to see Anthony Salisbury make something happen.
Bowers just brings the pressure, just relentless pressure. He's comfortable in that position. So far, he's managed to stay out of danger.
Jason, your thoughts on the idea of Bowers potentially, now he's on the hunt.
Left into that Kimura. He lost it. Nice job by Salisbury to correct that.
Maybe thinking about this head and arm choke is Bowers.
Yeah, if JJ can get his right knee cleared, you can see he's using his left knee to push, his left foot to push off of the top of Salisbury's leg, and he's almost got his right knee cleared. He's going to pass to the opposite side. I think he might wrap this. This might be it.
A huge win for J.J. Bowers, who comes into this 2026 season as a bench player, and he pulls off what might be the most important win for the Kings right there, getting the kill over Anthony Salisbury. What a way to make your return to the PGF match. J.J. Bowers getting it done. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
Your winner with a kill, representing the Vegas Kings, J.J. Bowers.
What a moment for J.J. Bowers, potentially sort of nailing that knockout blow perhaps to the Alabama Twisters. Maybe a little bit early, but that's a big 6.
Absolutely. As we take a look at the replay, it looked like Bowers was hunting for that Kimura grip, Tim, and he ultimately ends with a side choke.
Yeah, he gets the elbow cleared, and now he just needs to clear his right knee, and you can see he steps through, cuts in, and at this point, Salisbury is a little too flat to alleviate that pressure. He can't roll out, can't roll in, and it's a wrap.
We're talking about Joshua Squires as the 6th man of the year. I'll tell you right now, maybe some late votes coming in for J.J. Bowers with the big 6 points. Kings now lead back up to 20 points, which feels a lot different than 14.
It does. It's only 1 kill difference, but man, each and every point is so vitally important at this point And I might say, Jason, I believe you said on draft night that you felt J.J. Bowers would somehow find his way onto the mat and would get his redemption. If that wasn't the moment, I don't know what is.
So happy for the kid. Got to know him and his mom last season a little bit. And last season, he won his first match and then lost, I think, several in a row.
Right.
And just so happy for the kid. And he looks like a different cat out there. There was a slight lack of aggression in a good way, a different poise out there, and gave himself time to find that finish.
Yeah, he got the kill and maybe one coffin nail put in the Twister's coffin. We'll see what happens. Still a lot more to go. And a very exciting matchup here now as number 1 takes on number 2. Let's get to it. Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Vegas Kings. Make some noise for Jet Thompson.
So Jet Thompson's had back-to-back draws after a 6-kill winning streak. He will get the number 2 ranked athlete in the standings, Kevin Buring here. It'll be interesting to see how many tricks these guys show each other, with a great chance perhaps to face once again next week.
Jet Thompson stands atop the leaderboard, as does his Kings, and now he tries to put it away, taking on the Twisters, and number 2 is about to walk. Let's go back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Make some noise for Kevin Buring.
Kevin Buring, great chance to win this whole thing. Really good match against Brett Moyer earlier tonight. Found the break. Really been a great season, yet to be defeated in PGF Season 9.
Take a look at the tail of the tape. It is number 1 versus number 2. Jet Thompson with 58 points. He represents the Kings. Kevin Buring with 43. He represents the Alabama Twisters. High stakes matchup here between 2 very big game players. Kevin Buring, Jet Thompson, about to get underway.
These guys did face at EBI 22 back in December of 2024. Jet Thompson did lose to Kevin Buring via rear naked choke.
It's hard to even imagine Jet Thompson being in a position of getting rear naked choke when you see what he does here on this PGF mat.
Was it an EBI overtime? I wonder when he got the RNC.
It was.
It probably was, yeah. I mean, it's still no shade on on Buring choking Thompson. Both these guys are undefeated this season as well. Jet's in at 10-0. Buring's in 8-0. And Jet's already looking to pass Buring's guard. And he does. Nice work from Jet.
Mi gente, aquí tenemos a Jared otra vez, como ustedes pueden ver. Vamos a ver si se lleva la ganada en esta. Okay. Pero él está su posición está garantizada para la próxima semana. El día 8. So, vamos a ver si eso le ayudaría más, obviamente, para ver si él se lleva el cinturón como hizo el año pasado, como campeón para este año. Esos puntos son todos válidos, todos suman.
If you think about this, right now, number 1 versus number 2, if they were to have the seeding stay the exact same, their only way they're going to meet up is in the final for a championship.
Exactly.
And I'd be wanting to hide everything. I know they've been on the mat before, but I don't want to let you know anything I might do.
But ultimately, when you're facing guys of this caliber, even if you know what they can do, or whether you know it doesn't even matter. Jet Thompson going to find your back. Go ahead.
Just something to think about too. If they do meet next week, it would be in the championship match, where it would be a 10-minute round plus overtime, where Buring, has the.
Como ustedes pueden ver, el hombre está por ganar. El hombre quiere ganar.
Individual playoff. The playoffs are different than the weeks before. It's a complete different beast.
And one thing I like, I've called a lot of EBI matches, very used to that endurance round with the overtime. I love that format with the
hombre está por ganar, vamos a ver.
Yeah.
Si quedan en el reloj, quedan 3 minutos con 48 segundos.
Well, you can't stall the overtime.
Yep. Right. Yeah, that's a great point, TJ, because when the EBI rule set came out, it really felt like a solution to the woes of the jiu-jitsu formats, and then the athletes. It's their job to exploit the rules.
So Polar King is wondering if the King's now too far out for the Twisters catch up, or still enough fights. There are still enough fights. The Twisters can absolutely catch up but they're going to have to find some necks.
And that's the thing, Tim. When it comes to the idea of gaming your way into a position, as Jet Thompson and Kevin Buring spill off the mat.
We got a lamp knockover. I think that's the first time I've seen a lamp go down in PGF history.
I mean, the light's still on, so it's not a kill, but it might be a break.
And for those that don't have the privilege of being in this building, those lights flicker when the shot clock is active.
You're right.
By the way.
Se terminó esto, como podían ver aquí.
Hollywood, Haunted Mansion.
Faltando 3 minutos con 6 segundos. No se terminó. Yo pensé que se terminó ahí.
Gaming the system. Combat sports, it's all a modified game, and athletes are always going to try to win the game. But I think the shot clock is really a nice, solution to people trying to just, play their way to a format where they might be better in overtime rather than in regular active regulation.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And it's their job to game the rules.
Right.
They can.
We're playing a game.
They're trying to win.
I mean, it's a game of kills and breaks.
Deadly consequences.
Yeah. It's true. 2.5 minutes remain here in regulation.
Looks like Jet, he might be trying to get underneath Buring here. He does with that shin to shin. Got him in that headquarters position from the top.
You really do appreciate the high level of guys like Kevin Buring when you see Thompson go against guys that maybe are not quite on that level and just dust them.
Right.
Yeah, he kind of does what he wants. He dictates the pace of the match.
Yes.
If they're playing tennis, he's running them all over the court.
Yeah.
I mean, this is number 1 versus number 2 here. Maybe a preview of our individual championship next week. These guys are laughing and having fun out there. Oh, I thought they had a clash of heads there, but I think we're all right.
Jet's right back on that shin to shin again.
And Jet Thompson, when he came up in season 6, he was a breakout star. Then we were talking about him being this young kid. I think he was doing homework in between matches.
He was. I think you're right.
And he's a man here on the mat now. Buring was trying to hunt that neck, but
I think Jet's parents had to sign the waiver for him
in
season 6. For real, though.
I bet.
He feels like he's 25 years old now, the way that he's established, but I think he's 19.
Yeah. 19. I mean, it's just unbelievable the maturity with which he competes and even the dad strength for the teenager.
And Jet's got a real nice K-guard. You can see he was kind of flirting with it. Buring stepped around and Jet used it to come up on top. But he sets up that shotgun armbar off of his K-guard attacks. And we know this season he's been pulling his opponents into full guard and using that to try to get around to their back shades of like Anthony Gojani, right? Did a similar tactic last season, and Jets really pulled it off nicely this season.
And that's the thing about Thompson. He has a style where you know exactly what he's going to do, but it's very hard to stop it. Closing moments as Buring is able to make some space, and Jet Thompson just sprints toward him.
Bueno, están quedando nada más, mi gente. Como ustedes hay mucha acción aquí. Están quedando 9 segundos.
A little less active in the transition, with Jet is like coming right after him. It's not a bad tactic because in a match like this, if you're going to beat the number 2 guy, you might have to catch him. You got to find an advantage somewhere, and it might be running up on him.
Bueno, mi gente, esto va a terminar empate. Intentaron, pero había demasiado talento entre esas dos personas. Quedó ese
Absolutely. 6 minutes in the books, no points, but maybe a bit of a strategic win, keeping the Twisters off the board for Jet Thompson and his king. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
After 6 minutes, this match finishes with a draw.
Well, it's not a win for the Kings. It is another opportunity without points for these Twisters. Number 1, Thompson.
Bueno, no añadió puntos, pero él como quiera tiene garantizado que va a estar en el último partido de esta temporada, como quiera que sea.
Exactly.
My back is tomorrow from that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely get secondhand wear and tear watching all these matches. At
You
least I
think
feel
Jed
like it.
Thompson probably got stem cells for life from New Hope Regeneration, right?
Right, yeah.
It's Kevin Lucas's guy right there.
Number one in the clinic whenever he wants. Here's the GM of the Wolverines, CJ Seagraves. I mean, wearing the black hat just like his dad.
So coming up, what a match. Arande versus Carlton, both tied in that number 3 slot here. Seems as though perhaps the individual competition more paramount here than the team.
Yep. All right, let's get to it. Valuable points up for grabs. Stephen Aiken to welcome our athletes to the mat.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Las Vegas Kings. Make some noise for Austin the Gumby Arande.
Here he is, Austin Arande. Just to refresh your memory, he was the highest paid athlete in the draft at $5,400.
Vamos a ver que aquí esto va a comenzar, mi gente. Esto está por ponerse sabroso, como dicen. Vamos a ver si coge punto aquí en esta hora.
Our guy Abe over at Substats has a little stat here for us on Arande, who is the best dollar per point in the draft at the top price tier. Drafted at $5,400, he's generating 6.67 points per $1,000. And that Aoki lock in 25 seconds, this block only adds to it, or last block rather. So finishing rate at 69.2%. We'll see if he can add to that as he's ready to go to work for the second time tonight here at PGF. Back to Stephen Aiken.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Alabama Twisters. Give it up for Elijah Carlton.
Here he is, one of the faces of the Professional Grappling Federation. Nice, clean start to the night with that break over Caleb Crump. Elijah Carlton is going to be absolutely a problem next week and a force to be reckoned with. Let's see if he can make a little magic here, get the Alabama Twisters back in the mix.
See if you can overtake Austin Arande. Arande at 42 points, 41 for Elijah Carlton. And we'll see what happens. A quick kill for the Twisters would definitely make things interesting once again. And we know that Elijah Carlton is definitely capable of it, but he's got a very formidable foe in front of him in the form of Austin Arande. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman, live here in Las Vegas. It is the final night of the regular season of PGF. It is Carlton for the Twisters, Arande for the Kings.
Now, I believe Carlton has 42 points as well because of that block point. But if these guys are tied, the seeding really is going to be fascinating because Chewy is in that 5th slot right now with 31 points. He probably will slide down a little bit.
Oh, and Carlton's on it. He got it immediately.
My goodness. 3 points. Big break, Elijah Carlton.
Mi gente, ustedes vieron lo rápido que eso pasó. Ustedes vieron lo rápido que eso pasó.
I mean, that's almost
wow, le digo yo a ustedes que esto es así. Esto, en lo que usted pestañó, miró para el lado, se fue todo. Mira, yo estaba aquí contestándole a uno de los fans míos que me está tirando por el WhatsApp. Y ya te saben. Y pasó el pleito sin yo ver ni lo que pasó. En lo que pestañé.
Tough guy to put away, let alone that quickly. And did I just see a flag fly? Or
chicken.
Oh, it's a rubber chicken. I got scared. I'm like, what are we going to review here? I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and make this one official. Stephen Aiken.
Your winner with a 4-point break, representing the Alabama Twisters, Elijah Carlton.
So Elijah Carlton right now.
Wow, eso fue una ganancia rápida.
Chewy may end up in that 6th seed. Would be fascinating to get a rematch. Almost.
Wow, eso fue rápido. Déjame ver qué fue lo que pasó aquí.
That break over Elijah Carlton, where he almost alluded to the fact that he sort of hollered and tapped before he even knew what was happening. But huge start to the night for Carlton.
Yeah, very
fast break here for
Elijah
fue.
Carlton, a 4-point break with the elbow genie point. The smile on the face has been present all season long.
Por eso fue algo tan rápido, mi gente, que ni ahí en el display se vio. Se vio que el pie cayó con el pie doblado arriba del otro. Y que el otro le echó mano al pie de una vez. Pero eso tuvo que ser tremendo ahí. Wow. Han visto dos cosas que han pasado en el día de hoy que era inesperado.
You just took out a really tough opponent. Tell me what you're thinking.
First off, all glory to God. Put me on the stage. And I really don't have much on my mind right now except for getting just like coddled like a little baby and putting in air gel by Sean next. So let's go.
All right, Elijah Carlton, everybody.
Elijah Carlton getting it done tonight. Take a look at the team standings as they are right now. The Las Vegas Kings, 134 points. The Twisters trailing behind. Elijah Carlton with a huge win as they try to close the gap. Jason, we were talking about how this potentially might be getting out of hand, and Elijah Carlton responds in a big way.
He does, and 16 points is not insurmountable. We can take a little breath here as we'll watch the Phenoms and Wolverines close out this second block.
Oye, la cosa está fuerte porque como ustedes pueden ver ahí los puntos en la pizarra. Estamos hablando de una diferencia de cuánto, de 16 puntos. Ajá. Una diferencia de 16 puntos entre los Kings y los Twisters, que son los Twisters son los que están vestidos de negro. Ellos están haciendo lo mejor que ellos puedan. Ellos se están poniendo en la pizarra, están eliminando el espacio bastante amplio que andaba, que los Kings estaban por arriba de ellos por muchísimos puntos. Pero en este día de hoy, ellos han tenido un día muy exitoso. Y además ya los Kings están adelante por 16 puntos, que en otras palabras, de aquí a que se termine este evento, cuando viene a ver, puede hacer que se empate esta cosa, o que el espacio sea mucho menos que los 16. Vamos a ver lo que sucede en estos próximos dos partidos, ¿verdad?, que vienen ahora, a ver si los Twisters reducen ese espacio un poquito más. No está mal la cosa. Déjame pasar a los locutores ahora.
Twisters, Derek Rayfield, who ran into a very tough Jet Thompson in his first assignment. He can still make something happen. He was, a guy that I think was tapped to be in that final 8 at the beginning of the season, but still more work to do.
It'll be interesting if Rayfield changes up his approach, knowing that he's going to need 2 kills to get into the postseason.
So we were talking about Chewy Magana, who has had a phenomenal breakout year. He is pretty much locked up a spot here. He did miss his second match of the night. That will not disqualify him from the playoffs. Of course, he needs to, finish in a playoff position. But, I'm looking at that number 9, Andrew Cockle. What could have been? He had a great hurt in the match against Jake Strauss. Breakout star for him, but it ended, prematurely.
Sorry to cut you off. Yep. One thing I am curious about, if Chewy is not healthy enough to compete next week, I assume the guy in the number 9 slot would move up. So Cockle, we know, is not competing. So if that were the case, guys like Cam Hurd, Strauss, Rayfield may be more viable.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's the real big question here. It is a gauntlet. It is a marathon. It is very tough. Don't think that the top 8 is, in with super glue. Always got to make some changes if someone is hurt.
I think you're right. It's not in with super glue, but we're at a point where in order for one of these guys to catch Melanson, they're going to have to win twice.
Right.
They're going to have to get 2 big wins. I don't know if all those guys actually have 2 matches left on the night.
Let's get some PGF action figures. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who do you want first? I mean, I think I'm going Elijah Carlton. I want to know if the middle finger is going to be up on the action figure, or if at least I can make the middle finger go up.
Right. We have telescopic fingers. We could put them in any configuration we want.
Right?
Yeah.
I like that.
Tell you what, I'd take anyone in the top 8. I mean, when the day began, I really felt as though that top 8 in the playoffs, especially with Groner as that number 8 slot, had a real chance to sort of hold tight. And if it does, no matter the seeding, it is going to be quite a night next week.
Absolutely. The playoffs headed your way next week, but we've got to figure out who's going to be there, and each and every match counts. So does this team match up. The Philly Phenoms taking on the Colorado Wolverines. It is block number 2 on this 5th and final night of this PGF season. Take a look at the individual matches. Sean Melanson in that number 8 spot. He takes on Joshua Squires. Adam Frank taking on Caleb Crump. Jaden Groner, who has been on a roll to say the least. He draws Kyle Chambers. Noah McCulley taking on Sam Schwartzefel. And rounding it out is Rodman Derek Rayfield. He gets bulletproof Brett Moyer. All right, time for the second half of the block to begin. We go to Bobby, both of them, Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete, making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Dr. Sean Melanson.
Here he is, Sean Melanson. I'm convinced he's going to be a problem next week, even if he sits in that number 8 slot. might not have to do too much to remain in the playoffs, but you can be sure he knows that things have gotten a little tighter and is going to be anxious to produce here against Joshua Squires.
Sean Melanson has been a star for these Philly Phenoms.
Bueno, mi gente,
and he's ready to
él
go to
tiene
work
la
for the second
posición
time
8 ahora
tonight
mismo para
here
las
in
próximas
Las
semanas.
Vegas.
Pero aquí él no se puede descuidar, él tiene que tratarlo de que esto quede empate o de coger puntos, usted sabe. Porque se han acercado aquí, han pasado muchas cosas en el día de hoy que han sorprendido aquí a los fanáticos. Y no solamente eso, mi gente. Estamos hablando de que esta noche es la última oportunidad que tienen muchos de estos atletas de poder lograr piezas dentro de esas 8 personas que van a estar luchando ya para la próxima semana, que ya es el último partido. Entonces, hoy es la última noche de seleccionar esa persona. Estos juegos de hoy son muy importantes. Por eso, esa persona que no pudo jugar, que no pudo pelear ahorita, que vino, que se
I
tiró,
do
que
think for
hizo
Melanson, the
una
seeding
marea ahí,
has got to be
lo
part of
agarraron una
the
vez y lo
equation,
hicieron
because ultimately, if you're going to find your way through this postseason, you'd like to avoid Jet Thompson, Buring, Carlton as long as possible.
Y lo grande es que se
really
presentó
would, and
en la primera
Melanson
parte
went
de
to
la
a draw
partida de
with
hoy.
Jet.
Pero
when
ya
they
aquí estamos
matched
ya en
up,
las finales,
and
ya lo
we
que
know
quedan
with
son
the
4
overtime
pleitos más
rules,
después de
you
este,
don't
para
necessarily
que
want
le
to get
demos
into
un
an
fin a esta
EDI
noche.
shootout
Yo sé que
with
estas
Jet
cosas son de
Thompson.
largo,
Then that's
son 20
with as
peleas,
good as
por eso que
Melanson
se
is,
dura
it's just hard to
bastante.
beat
Ya
a
yo
guy
creo
like
que
that.
se va a terminar bien, ya se terminó. Porque se dejó coger en esa posición ahí. Esos puntos él los necesitaba.
And I mean, this kid has shined in moments of the season here on the PGF mat, and that is another one. Beautiful knee bar.
Just Melanson, it feels like armbar's just there for the taking or whatever. I mean, just he can take arms whenever a choke doesn't happen to present itself.
Absolutely. Big win there for Melanson, who is securing that spot in our playoffs to make it official. Stephen Aiken.
Your winner with a 4-point break, representing the Philly Phenoms, Sean Melanson.
Great performance by Sean Melanson.
And that hops Melanson over Groner into that number 7 slot.
They're battling it out for the bottom here. Look how he gets that. He actually hit a ROW drag, but from a position that you don't normally see, and then he took the armbar.
I thought it was a knee bar there. I mean, twisted up there. I thought it was the leg that was in there at first, but no, you are correct. Armbar finish for Melanson, and the Phenoms cheering on their charge.
Appreciate you fighting Sloth, following along on Kick. Under a minute, huge. That is right. Appreciate everybody following along on Kick. We know we're on YouTube and Kick. Give us some love over on Kick. Trying to get things going over there.
6,000 people watching right now. That's not bad.
That is impressive.
Now I'm nervous.
7,000. We just went to 7. Wow.
Now I'm more nervous. Jeez, they tuned in because Jason said so.
Hey, you got BMAC off the sticks, and I guess everyone just flying, right?
Say the word.
All right, they're tuning in for action. We should give it to them. Back out to the voice of PGF, Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete, making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Adam Frank.
Y vamos, que ya estamos aquí quedando ya, después de esta quedan nada más 3 partidas más, mi gente, para el día de hoy, para aquellos que están un poco cansados, porque yo sé que ha sido bastante largo este evento, y más que yo comencé como 45 minutos antes.
Promotion is continuing, and I expect that we'll see him back.
I hate to correct you.
Please.
League, not promotion.
Thank you.
B-Max right there. He's going to.
That's okay.
All right. Let's go back to Stephen Aiken.
And his opponent, making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for Caleb Crump.
All right, here is Caleb Crump. Perhaps another opportunity for Crump to find his way onto the scoreboard. Continues to lead this Colorado team, and I believe this long game of the Wolverines in terms of building their future, Crump a big part of it, the local kid.
Caleb Crump with 7 points. Picked up his first PGF win earlier this season. Would love to try to grab another before it is all over tonight. As we wrap up this season here tonight, 5th and final week. Caleb Crump for the Wolverines. Frank for the Philly Phenoms. Again, TJ Sanders along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman. Matt Side here in Las Vegas. I think there was a bit of maybe a Was it eye poke or something? Frank didn't like something.
I don't know. I thought they were going to do like a little bro hug thing, but then there was a push off.
Yeah.
I misread that.
Crump so even keeled, you don't see him too fired up.
Yeah, but he's
very
a guy that can make it grimy, you know.
He sure can.
And maybe Frank didn't like something. He likes to try to grab a hold of that neck, but unable to secure it.
And Caleb took a chance. He had his head on the outside on that shot, and Frank took it immediately, tried to wrap up the neck. Caleb did a nice job scrambling out.
You mentioned, Jason, looking at Crump, he's on this Colorado Wolverines team, but he's a Colorado guy.
Yes, and as is Officer Grimy. And it's been a tough year for the Wolverines, but it's gotten better every week. And Egghead Seagraves and his son CJ, it is the long game in Colorado. And I have a feeling that they won't appear to be like an expansion team next season.
Yeah, and the commitment really has been on display by David Seagraves. A lot of behind-the-scenes footage from him, and really. Oh no, Caleb Crump caught in an arming guillotine.
You knew Zoe was making the toss.
The money bag,
and Frank is gonna sell out on this guillotine attempt. He's got so Caleb has an arm in, so he might be able to get a little space. Frank really needs to kind of roll Caleb up on the top of his head, almost like he's trying to push his chin into his chest.
And Olivo was telling him to not squeeze, but lean.
Well, he figured forward that body, and I don't know if that is, nicely done by Crump, able to get his head free. And, I was going to start to think, what's the risk versus reward here? If you get the sub, great, but if you don't want to kill your arms. So right now into rubber guard is Frank.
Basic pass, clear the net.
And now Caleb he has the impetus that he's got to break this closed guard open, which is a great strategy in the PGF, especially if you have a good closed guard.
Yeah, and we've seen Crump have, shot clock violations from this position throughout the season. And now back to that rubber guard. Here goes Frank.
And he's trying to clear his arm out. He could put himself in danger here, though, Crump can. And he clears it. Nice job from Crump. And he jumps back right into it again.
Okay, so is that the shot clock?
Yeah, I think they left Crump on the shot clock.
Got it.
He did not get off of it.
We didn't have the graphic on our screen, so I wasn't even aware that the shot clock was on. But a shot clock violation for Caleb Crump, who now finds himself in this penalty position. And Crump's a guy who might not be too uncomfortable here. A great scrambler, but Frank trying to do his part.
Frank did a nice job, though, of kind of staying with the back.
Yeah.
Ooh, nicely done. Unable to secure a hook, though, but still hunting for it is Frank.
Yeah, Caleb's not going to get away from Frank by just clearing his head. He really needs to turn the body in. Let's see if he'll have an opportunity to do it here. If he could just turn in. And Frank stays on him, and now he's got both hooks with a body triangle.
Really nicely done by the phenom, Adam Frank, on the back here of Caleb Crump.
And for those inexperienced PGF athletes, the more they get the reps and the mat time, you just see the evolution. You see with a guy like Squires get more comfortable. Frank looking more comfortable as every minute ticks off the clock.
2 minutes here for Frank to work. He's got the back here of Crump.
Caleb's going to try to put pressure on that body triangle, on the lock on the bottom. But we've seen a lot more guys finish in that position than what we used to in the past.
Nicely done by Crump to at least get Frank off the back. No hooks in anymore. Trying to roll through.
Frank is just staying with. Finally, Crump breaks it right into a front headlock, and he's going to take his turn on the back. Let's see how Crump can do.
I mean, Frank
a lot of tenacity out of Crump here. Liking what I'm seeing. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, he was bucking like a bronco. And
Oye, pero andaba más fuerte maroma esos dos, ¿verdad, mi gente?
Spot, and things are getting fast-paced down the stretch.
Vamos a ver lo que queda aquí en el reloj. Queda un
You can
minuto
see
con 11
those
segundos
gentlemen
en
from
el
the
reloj,
U.S.
mi gente.
Army here on the couch. They are the guests of the Las Vegas Kings here tonight.
Very physical match out of both these athletes tonight.
Crump kind of complaining about
Vamos a
the
ver que está
positioning
medio
here.
fuerte esto. Queda 1 minuto y 11 segundos en el reloj.
Half butterfly for Crump.
Como que los 8 que están
Nicely done by
seleccionados
the Wolverine Crump to get back up.
se van a quedar seleccionados para la próxima
I wonder if
semana.
wear and tear has anything to do with it
Porque
tonight,
hay
too. You can
mucho
see Crump's had a lot of
pleito
matches.
aquí
He's had a
donde
full
la verdad
season.
no.
And
La
you
más
kind of can
ayudan
see
en
some
los
of it in
puntos
his
del equipo y
pacing.
no los puntos
I kind of felt the same way about Cam Hurd a little bit tonight. Just
Oh, my goodness. Caleb Crump.
Nice job for Crump.
Mira, Jared,
Just as I'm
de
ready.
verdad, con todos los puntos que tiene, ya esto se va a acabar. Faltando 29 segundos, se va a acabar, vamos a ver. Ah, no, ya se zafó, se zafó.
I don't know.
24 segundos de
What
reloj. mi
a
gente,
sequence of
caminando.
action. 20 seconds left. Crump still trying to hunt.
18 segundos de
Crump's got
reloj.
to send it. He's got to send it
Yo
right
creo que
here
ya
if he's
esto
got a
va a
chance
salir
to
empate,
get
mi
it.
gente. 10 segundos, 9.
Frank doing a good job staying out of
Ya
trouble.
esto va a quedar empate, yo creo. 3 segundos, 2 segundos, 1 segundo y sonó la campana, mi gente.
But what a moment.
Wow.
Tuvo
You know,
seca,
we were
sí.
talking about the wear and tear
Si
on
le
the
dan
body
otros
of
30
Caleb
segundos al
Crump, and he's
tipo,
like,
un minuto más,
forget that
había
noise.
pasado
I'm going
pelea.
to show you what I can do. And he nearly grabs a submission. But unfortunate for him, time not on his side, but a money bag lands his way. Two money bags. Get paid, son. Final night of the PGF. And while you're not getting points, Caleb Crump is getting paid. To make it official, Stephen Aiken.
After 6 minutes, this match finishes with a draw.
Ends in a draw after 6 minutes, but we were treated to some great action. Caleb Crump, unable to get points, but dollar bills in hand. Two money bags.
Yeah, good, deserved.
Not
'Cause
bad,
He's
not
going to
bad.
close out his night against Jet Thompson, so might as well
Oh,
get some
geez.
money right now.
Yeah, that's a tough draw. Let's take a look at some of the action brought to you by Dolomer. Tim Freeman, walk us through.
So you can see Crump was trying to get off the shot clock at this point, and he made a nice pickup there, but kind of spiked himself. A little bit of a dangerous situation. He did manage to defend this position nicely, and here we see the back take with the arm under the neck. I really thought he was going to have a chance to finish
right there.
here. He couldn't quite get his right hand deep enough, and you see Frank was able to make some adjustments and clear out.
Unable to get the submission, but a highlight reel back take put in the bank as some dollar bills for Caleb Crump. We'll see him one more time tonight before it's all said and done. All right, more action to be had. Let's go back to Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Kyle Chambers.
Here is the unfinishable Kyle Chambers. Going to be an interesting matchup here against Jaden Groner. Groner now in that 8th slot, but absolutely an opportunity for Groner to manipulate.
Ya ustedes vieron a este hombre peleando ahorita. Ustedes saben ya que está invicto, ¿verdad? Y que no es fácil cogerle punto a este hombre. O sale empate o él gana, una de esas dos. Pero así ha sido su carrera. Desde el comienzo, o sale empate o gana. Una de las dos. Porque no ha perdido. Ahora, puede ser que ustedes aquí sean testigos de que en este día de hoy pierda contra este oponente, pero yo lo dudo. Es que es el hombre difícil. Ustedes vieron ahorita, y así mismo todas las veces que yo lo he visto, el hombre difícil de agarrar y de coger. Es muy difícil, muy difícil.
And is firmly in the mix. Maybe that guy you don't want to see next week.
25 points.
Mire.
Thanks for Jaden Groner representing the Colorado Wolverines. 4 points for the very durable Kyle Chambers. We are ready to get underway.
Kyle's had some matchups against some real tough guys this season. Orande, Carlton, took them all to draws.
Vamos a ver
Nobody's been
aquí
able
lo
to
que se
beat him.
mueve.
It's a tall order for Jaden. But if anybody's got a hot hand right now,
well put.
Jaden does, and I'd rather have a hot hand right now than be good.
Very good point. I'm with you.
I mean, it's like they say in the NHL, all you need is a hot goalie. And,
Yeah.
But no, it's really true because you do see some of the high-level athletes offset one another. So, being at the peak of your individual game at the moment could be what leads you to the championship. Not much jeopardy for losing out of that 8th spot, though, for Groner. While there is opportunity to improve seeding, fairly locked in terms of this final 8.
All right. Leaking off the mat. Splash zone safe. Where was Montano on that one? What do you guys think about the seeding? It's very much, based on performance on the mat. I've always thought maybe you give the number 1 guy the first pick of opponent. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting
That's
way to look
really
at
interesting. Given how competitive this top 8 is, that is fascinating.
That would really shake things up in the sense that you couldn't game it if you were in the top 8 and you tried to slide around to get a better matchup
Right.
because you don't know who you're going to get picked.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of number 1 picks their opponent, number 2 picks their opponent, all the way down.
It would be interesting given the fact that a lot of guys potentially would avoid team members because these guys get really close, competing with one another, living with one another. That's your guy.
I mean, 6 weeks is a long time.
incómodo.
Real relationships are made, and I think the Wolverines are definitely emblematic of that. When you look at how their season started and how it's finishing, I mean, their spirits, while it's not the season they wanted it to be as a team, they're firmly behind their guy in Jaden Groner, and thankful for the process and experience of it all. 2-on-1 there for Chambers. He loses it.
It's hard to tell exactly what he's setting up, but usually it's an entrance into the legs. Kyle's perfectly happy to trade places, too. Bottom to top, it doesn't really matter to him.
Both of these guys wearing the leggings. Tim, I've always wondered if that adds more friction. Does it lose friction when both guys have the Spanx on?
I think it can, but what happens, I think, is some athletes get used to the way it feels to not have them or to have them, and they stick with it. Personally, for me, I don't mind training in spats, but I'm not going to compete anymore. But when I did, it was always just as greasy as possible. And I'm Italian, and I sweat real easy, so I have a good sweat cooked up on the way there.
There you go.
Halfway point of the match.
You do see Chambers' ability to neutralize opponents. Groner, been a world beater, settled down here against Chambers.
Chambers, his length and his guard play is real hard to deal with. Try to set up an ankle attack here. See what he does. So Kyle's leg being below the knee line is not bad for him. There's a Kyotera lock that he could hit there. If he can get his body into position, he can make that happen, but might not be easy to do with Groner sitting down.
Chambers' mother back at the secret location on a couch for the second straight week. Love having her here.
I love Mama Chambers. The PGF really, the parents show up.
Yes.
For the young ones that are 17, 18, 19, talked about Bauer's mom. She was real active last season. Kyle's mom's always showing up everywhere he is. It's great to see.
I love it.
A nice leg drag attempt off Groner, and Kyle's able just to lift him up.
And again, talking about the parents coming out to see their kids, play at the PGF here. I mean, like you said, if they've supported them, through their long jiu-jitsu run, you arrive here. It's like, this doesn't look like a gymnasium where they might be selling popcorn. Open bar, couches.
People dressed up.
Yeah. Looks like prom here sometimes.
Es que es muy difícil ese hombre de dejarse agarrar.
I wouldn't know anything about prom.
Yeah, me neither, TJ.
inside the final 90 seconds. Got a hold of that left leg of Chambers, does Groner.
Chambers did have to miss week 3. Sorry, TJ. Just a lot of people going after those angles, so I think he's probably still not quite 100%.
Yeah, it's crazy to think Chambers, roughed up a little bit, but still undefeated in the loss column.
Very hard athlete to beat. And he's worked himself into almost an outside Aussie. If he can clear his left leg, he might want to keep it in. And there it is. He's got it. He goes right belly down.
30 seconds left here for Chambers to try to make something happen.
James using his left foot pretty good
smart
to run interference. If he can get some weight on his right knee, he can potentially stack Chambers up. But we've seen Chambers in that stack position roll right underneath it, not have a problem with it.
Now standing here, final 10 seconds for Groner. Looks like time is going to expire. We go the full 6 minutes. No points to be awarded. Kyle Chambers keeps that O intact in the loss column.
Como vieron ahí, quedó empate esto, como yo me lo adiviné.
Groner off the board. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
Es muy difícil ese hombre. Entonces él tampoco.
And so interesting that Groner was supposed to face Chewy Magana in the final match of the night, and will now get CJ Murdoch. It's fascinating there that potential playoff matchup will not take place tonight.
Absolutely. We are inside the second block tonight here at the final night of the regular season of the Professional Grappling Federation. Appreciate you tuning in on YouTube and Kick. We're going to go ahead and keep our action going. Back on the mat with Stephen Aiken.
Our next athlete, making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Make some noise for Noah McCulley.
All right, here's Noah McCulley. As we've said, been sort of feast or famine for the kid this season. Really good match versus Cam Hurd earlier tonight that led to a draw. McCulley was drafted for $2,800, so big expectations out of him for the Phenoms. I expect a bright future for him in this league. TJ.
Absolutely. Second time we see McCulley on the mat tonight for the Phenoms. He draws Sam Schwartzefeld of the Wolverines for Sam's walk. We go back to Steven.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Give it up for Sam Schwartzefeld.
Really like what we've seen lately out of Sam Schwartzefeld, still yet to get on the board in this season. It does feel somewhat inevitable that he's going to find something in these next 2 matches. It's been a disappointing year, though. I think Dave Seagraves, the owner, and GM, his son CJ, both thought Sam had a shot to win the whole thing. So ultimately, not what they were looking for from Schwartzefeld.
Tail the tape there, McCulley with 10 points, 1 for Schwartzefeld, who is yet to get a win this season. We'll see if he can do it here against the Philly Phenom. TJ DeSantis along with Jason Anik, Tim Freeman. It is night number 5 of the 2026 season of PGF.
Bit of a calm before the storm with this matchup with the Phenoms and the Wolverines, knowing that the Twisters and Kings and a lot of their athletes still with a lot to play for here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a couple 10th Planet guys with McCulley coming out of 10P Grants Pass. Sam Schwartzefeld trains at headquarters down in Los Angeles. Interesting to see how that will neutralize each other's games, potentially if someone tries to go deep into the 10P technique waters.
Yeah, trying to get this head here is McCulley.
I feel like Schwartzefeld gave him his head.
Right?
Yeah, I think he baited that. He was going to try to come up on the back. It just didn't quite work out like he wanted. That's a risky bait. But at this point, if you're Sam, you're looking to make something happen.
Yep.
You're going to have to do something different than what you've been doing in Season 9.
Schwartzefeld, a super cerebral fighter and really fun to watch. It's been just sort of a weird season in a lot of ways.
He's had some tough breaks.
Yeah.
He's had some good bites where it looked like, wow, that he's going to get it, and it didn't. And it kind of started off with that match against Chewy.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing with Sam. He's been finished very quickly in matches and been finished very late as well. So a lot of points have been taken away from him, but also he's missed out on his opportunities to secure. And he would love just, for his own journey, get some points here against Noah McCulley. Tim, you were talking about the 10th Planet system, and it is a very unique system with a lot of unique names, but not every 10th Planet player is the same. You have, guys that really like to work from the truck. You have, a variety of rubber guard attackers. It's you don't really know what you get. And now, right now on the head here is Schwarzenfeld. Can he make something happen?
He might be able to pull this off.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice job for Sam.
6 points, the first kill of Sam Schwarzenfeld's run this season. It took 14 matches, and definitely a smile on the face of Sam, which you haven't seen a lot this season. Stephen Aiken to make it official.
Your winner with a kill, representing the Colorado Wolverines, Sam Schwarzenfeld.
Well, and you see there what the Colorado Wolverines really were looking for in terms of Sam Schwarzenfeld. You heard Egghead talk a lot about Jaden Groner, their highest paid athlete in the draft, and that's what we paid him for. That's what we're looking for. So ultimately, maybe a little late to the party, but a big finish for Schwarzenfeld.
Yeah, you see, this is a Darce setup that he's gone for several times this season, and tonight it's interesting how he trapped McCulley's leg under his left leg and was able to keep him in that position. That's the first time I've seen Sam smile.
Mamona, necesito que vayas al mercado de pedajes y compres los productos. Te he dicho que te asegures de comprar los alimentos más frescos. No dejes que te vendan lo que quieran. Ya sabes lo que haré si lo hacen. Así que presta atención cuando vayas.
Sí, mamá. Ya me voy al mercado de los pedajes y sé cómo ahorrarte dinero, mamá, y elegir los alimentos adecuados ahí, mamá. Hoy hace un día precioso.
Derek Rayfield feels like no matter what he does, couple elbow genie kills is going to find him on the outside looking in. Because we look at that 8th spot for Jaden Groner, 25 points.
Yeah.
Rayfield, still some work to do.
Absolutely, and time is running out. He's got 2 opportunities, taking a look at Eddie Bravo talking to Egghead. Eddie Bravo in attendance tonight. Sam Schwarzenfeld just got that win. Trains with Eddie, as we mentioned, at 10 PHQ. Dominic Lobo to his left.
Yeah, there's Dom Lobo. Eddie's prize pupil, had a good run last year.
Jordan Worth to Eddie's right. All right, Stephen Aiken in the center of the mat.
Our next athlete making his way to the mat, representing the Philly Phenoms. Give it up for Derek Rodman Rayfield.
So we talked about Rayfield on the outside looking into the playoffs, and it does feel like for PGF fans
ya, mi gente, aquí lo que están viendo ya
that we're not going to get to see Rayfield potentially in that playoff. He does go against his teammate here. Will be interesting to see how aggressive he gets.
Largo, mi gente.
Lights are on, pressure is high. We'll see how Rodman responds. Derek Rayfield needs to go to work, take some points home if he wants to head into the playoffs next week. We'll see what he can do. Back to Stephen Aiken.
And his opponent making his way to the mat, representing the Colorado Wolverines. Make some noise for
a ver quién se va a llevar la correa de este año. En el año pasado se la llevó Jared. Se llevó la correa del año pasado. Y está como por hacer lo mismo en esta, pero
gets a guy he knows very well here in Derek Rayfield.
13 points for Philly's Derek Rayfield. Definitely needs more if he wants to get in the playoffs. Brett Moyer, the man to score first ever points for the Colorado Wolverines. He's on the board with 6.
So this is the final match of our second block of the night, and Rayfield will compete in the second match in the third block. So Rayfield is going to know his postseason fate very quickly. And one other note, Adam Frank, who's supposed to lead off the next block for the Phenoms against Kevin Buring, will be replaced by Derek Atkins. More to come on that later.
Moyer takes his seat here to start, and Rayfield had a unique response.
I don't know what these guys are doing. Some mime work happening right now. And Rayfield flies over looking for a leaping guillotine. what Moyer can turn this into. It looked like he might try to invert into K, but didn't quite get his knee into the right pocket to make that happen.
Buenos días, agente policía Isaiah.
Es un día estupendo para ello, sin duda lo es. Después de usted.
No te lo vas a creer. Vamos a la fábrica de Mr. Beast, de los chocolates feistables. Espera, ¿en serio? Reúne a todos los residentes de Fleet Town. Corre la voz. Tengo una gran noticia para todos vosotros. Vamos a visitar.
He's facing Jake Strauss next. I think he needs a couple kills.
He's got if he's going to get 12 points, getting 3 is not going to do enough to get him up there for his next match.
Well, he's going to need 2 kills and some help.
Yeah, he is.
Well, he's attacking the leg there of Moyer, who retreats.
But if I'm Rayfield, I'm not so sure I'm thinking too much about the playoffs. It's such a long shot at this point. I'd try to take care of my teammate and finish him. Even if it's by break.
Yeah, agreed. You're not going to pass it up. But, I mean, at this point, the Phenoms aren't going to make up the score difference.
Right. Yep.
Maybe you do go for broke. Maybe you go full Rodman. Maybe that's the move.
That's a very dangerous suggestion.
I just made Brandon shudder when I said that.
Well, Derek, probably these guys have a great feel for the danger the other one presents as well. Yeah, I'm sure Rayfield knows how chokeable Moyer is or isn't.
Oh, we got dueling leg locks, and you got a grimace out of Moyer on that one. He's doing a nice job, though, of keeping Derek compressed so Derek can't extend out and really put tension on the ankle here. But Derek's one of these guys, you could tie him up like a pretzel, and he'll come out on your back on the other side. Derek's going to look for an inside heel. He's got a bite on it. This could turn into something dangerous. And he's going to counterattack on Derek, forcing Derek to turn his heel in. That was nice.
We've arrived at the halfway point of the match. 3 down, 3 to go.
Moyer's trying to break out of the 50-50, and Derek re-pummeled his right leg over for the reap to try to give him a bite on Moyer's opposite leg. And now Moyer's going to be on, and then Derek does it again. Yeah. Derek doesn't quite have a grip, though. You see his hands aren't really connected to anything, while Moyer does have his right arm laced around Derek's ankle. Derek's going to put some weight on the foot and run out. Nice job from Derek.
Two minutes here for Derek Rayfield to keep his playoff hopes alive.
Not a lot of inactivity here at the PGF tonight.
No, there's not. You're right. They're getting after it pretty good. At the athletes meeting beforehand, one of the things that Brandon said was, well, I know we're not going to have to even get here. Like basically telling them, like, hey, guys, let's do it. It's tricky. And on a championship night like this, you want to let the guys get after it. Yeah. You don't want to interfere too much, but you also can't let the matches lag.
Right. And after, 5 weeks for these guys that have, seen their regular starting lineups, I mean, they should be pretty familiar with how to keep that shot clock off at this point.
Good point.
Moyer might look to run this into a Choi bar. You can't quite get Derek's right or left arm kind of extended out to make that happen. And there he goes right back underneath the elbow.
All right, Derek Rayfield finds himself on the shot clock.
I love how Derek just rolled through the sweep.
The shot clock is still on. Shot clock turned off as Rayfield is close to a pass. And, I mean, I'm just wondering if you say it's off because you don't want Derek Rayfield to go full rod.
I really feel like that was a professional courtesy there. Like, I'm going to run you down right to it.
Right,
right
exactly.
there. I'm going to just let
exactly.
you off just a little. If you don't go crazy, I won't go crazy.
Final 10 seconds in the match.
Derek's going to have one last bite on this. Let's see if he can get it with 5 seconds left.
And time expires, as do the playoff hopes for one Derek Rayfield. A tough season for him, but we will still see him one more time tonight here in Las Vegas. All right, to make it official, Stephen Aiken.
Bueno, mi gente, esto llegó a su final, como ustedes pueden ver.
Well, teammates outside of the PGF, they go to battle tonight. Tim Freeman walked us through some of the action.
So we can see Rayfield right here trying to get on an inside heel hook. And all night, Rayfield went back and forth, trying to find the subs. These two athletes were trading the leg. They were basically in a shootout for most of the match, but neither guy really had a decent enough bite to get.
Speaking of points on the board, let's take a look at our team standings as we are just ahead of our third and final block here of the regular season. The Kings still on top, 134 points. The Alabama Twisters, Jason Anik, are they still mathematically possible to catch this and take this title?
Absolutely. Well, this block right here, Twisters versus Phenoms, to begin this block, the bottom line is the Twisters need to put up 16 points at minimum and force the Kings to get on the board in the final block.
It is a tall task to say the least. But the Kings, they like their shot, and it's all because of that guy, Jet Thompson, to the top of the leaderboard, 58 points, 12 ahead of Elijah Carlton, who just overtook that spot from his teammate, Kevin Buring, who's got 44 points. He is in third. Austin Arande in fourth.